Ba Chuanqiu's tone remained calm, but what he said caused the disciples of the Lanhai sect to turn pale. Pleading with Lu Qing was the humiliation of their lifetime. They had originally hoped to suppress the matter before it spread by having the Supreme Elder capture and subdue the person to restore their dignity. Unexpectedly, this disgraceful affair was now publicly exposed. The Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect also looked displeased. "It seems your Overlord clan is determined to protect this boy?" "That's right. This young man had a pleasant conversation with Ba Tian of our clan in the secret realm, and they got along well. Since he is a friend of our Overlord clan, I will naturally protect him," Ba Chuanqiu said confidently. After speaking, a strong aura emanated from him. It caused the surrounding spiritual energy to stagnate. Ba Chuanqiu's attitude was undeniably domineering. However, his words made many in the Golden Core realm show strange expressions. On the day in the ancient tower space, many heard the conversation between Lu Qing and Ba Tian. They really couldn't see how the two could have had such a pleasant conversation and gotten along so well. Immediately, some quick-witted individuals figured it out. Ba Chuanqiu's righteous words likely hid ulterior motives. "Sounds nice," the Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect sneered. "But isn't your Overlord clan interested in this boy's secrets and his exotic spirit beast? If this boy really leaves with you, I'm afraid he will be completely devoured, not even leaving any residue. Are you slandering our Overlord clan?" Ba Chuanqiu's gaze turned cold, staring directly at the Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect. "You should know whether it's slander or not. This boy carries great secrets, and he likely obtained opportunities in the secret realm. Moreover, with his exotic spirit beast, dare you say your Overlord clan has not been tempted?" The Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect continued to sneer without any trace of fear. Although the Overlord clan was powerful and far surpassed their Lanhai sect, the Lanhai sect was quite far from the Overlord clan's territory, separated by several powerful sects, some of which were not inferior to the Overlord clan in strength and foundation. No matter how strong the Overlord clan was, they couldn't extend their reach that far to affect the Lanhai sect. Therefore, while wary of Ba Chuanqiu, the Lanhai sect's Supreme Elder wasn't afraid to the point of being intimidated. With these words, the expressions of the primordial spirit great powers present changed slightly. Having received reports from their disciples, they were already aware of the situation in the secret realm and what the young man had done within it. It wasn't merely his spirit beast, which was highly likely to possess an ancient bloodline and be an exotic species. More importantly, it was likely that the person had obtained the greatest opportunity in the secret realm. According to the disciples' descriptions of the secret realm, that opportunity might have been left by an unimaginable existence. Thus, Ba Chuanqiu's sudden appearance had an unspoken intention. For a moment, the primordial spirit great powers looked at Ba Chuanqiu with somewhat strange expressions. Ba Chuanqiu could sense the meaning behind these gazes and immediately laughed in anger. Fine, it seems our Overlord clan's dormancy has caused people to lose their awe, allowing any cat or dog to provoke us. Ba Tian, go bring this young friend over. I want to see who dares touch someone our clan wants to protect. And you, Old Man Qiu, an exhausted old sage daring to mock our clan in front of me, I'll offer you to my saber first." After speaking, Ba Chuanqiu directly unleashed a celestial sword qi towards the Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect. The Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect didn't expect Ba Chuanqiu would act so suddenly. Fortunately, he was prepared and immediately deployed a magical treasure to protect himself. It was a water-blue shield that, upon being deployed, instantly transformed into multiple layers of rotating water screens, enveloping and protecting himself and the disciples behind him. Though Ba Chuanqiu's sword qi was tremendously mighty, when it struck, it was constantly torn apart and dissolved by the ever-changing water flows in the layers of water screens. Eventually, although it broke through more than 10 layers of water screens consecutively, it couldn't go further and was completely obliterated. "What? Did I expose your intentions? And now you're embarrassed and want to silence them by killing. But with so many fellow Taoists here, can you alone, Ba Chuanqiu, really cover up the chatter of the masses?" Having neutralized Ba Chuanxiu's sword chi with the power of the magical treasure, the supreme elder of the Lanhai sect felt a sense of assurance but continued his taunts. As for the disciples of the Lanhai sect behind him, they were filled with excitement. Who would have thought that the supreme elder would be so tough, even daring to confront a great power from the Overlord clan head-on? Surprise shield? You actually brought one of your Lanhai sect's sect spirit artifacts. No wonder you're so brazen. Since that's the case, I will seize your turtle shield, destroy your physical body, and then, after returning, I'll lead people to C-State and annihilate your Lanhai sect. An ominous aura surged from Ba Chuanxiu as a majestic treasure saber suddenly appeared in his hand. Seeing this, the supreme elder of the Lanhai sect's expression turned extremely serious. However, at this point he couldn't back down. He could only fully activate his magical treasure, causing the water screens around him to circulate even faster. The fierce clash of aura between the two primordial spirit great powers disturbed the surrounding spiritual energy and even the heaven and earth laws. Please, both of you, hold on. Just as a primordial spirit battle was about to break out, a figure suddenly appeared between the two, smiling. When they saw who appeared, both Ba Chuanxiu and the supreme elder of the Lanhai sect had their expressions tense up, and their auras slowly receded. Mystic Sword, what do you mean by this? Ba Chuanxiu stared at the person. Could it be that your heavenly sword sect also wants to intervene and oppose me? Very well. Then you all come at me together. It turned out that the person blocking them was Mystic Sword Elder from the Heavenly Sword Sect. Others in the primordial spirit realm saw this scene and had expressions of amusement. The relationships among top powers are often intricate and complex. Just like between the Overlord clan and the Heavenly Sword Sect, Ba Tian and Shun Songfeng had a good relationship, but there was old resentment between Ba Chuanxiu and Mystic Sword Elder. It is said that when they were young, they were also friends, but later, due to competing for the affection of a certain major sect's holy daughter, they ended up falling out. Although it never reached the point of deadly enmity, they ended up becoming strangers who no longer communicated. Seeing Mystic Sword Elder step forward now, no wonder Ba Chuanxiu's expression was unfriendly. Not at all, I simply don't want you two to engage in a large-scale fight here. Both of you are the pillars of our human race. If you fight to the death over such a trivial matter, regardless of who falls, it is a loss to our human race and will ultimately benefit the Demon Clan. Mystic Sword Elder solemnly said. Is that so? I don't recall you, Mystic Sword, as someone with such a big-picture mentality. A despicable person like you must be scheming something again, right? However, Ba Chuanxiu did not believe his nonsense at all and directly mocked him. Actually, the dispute between you two is simply due to the opportunity surrounding this young man. Since that is the case, why not sit down and discuss it calmly? Facing Ba Chuanxiu's sarcasm, Mystic Sword Elder was not angry but still advised with a smile. What's there to discuss? I am determined to protect this person, and whoever dares to touch him is opposing the Overlord clan. Ba Chuanxiu still made no concession. Chuanxiu, your words have no meaning. Mystic Sword Elder saw that Ba Chuanxiu was relentless, and his smile also faded a bit. No one here is a fool. Everyone knows your intentions. Your Overlord clan wants to monopolize the opportunity. Do you think the fellow Taoists will agree? Anyway, let's all sit down and discuss it to avoid disharmony. Indeed, this person in the secret realm not only robbed the disciples of the Lanhai sect but also harmed the disciples of our Shenyuan sect. There must be an explanation. At this time, another primordial spirit realm spoke. It was the primordial spirit realm elder of the Shenyuan sect. Our disciples were also robbed by him, so there must be an explanation. Several other primordial spirit realm members stood up. Predecessor Ba Chuanxiu, I also think that this matter should be discussed carefully. A young man stood up who was the newly promoted primordial spirit, Gongshu Zhang of the Gongsu family. As one primordial spirit realm spoke after another, Ba Chuanxiu's expression turned grim. Though confident, he wasn't arrogant enough to think he could contend with so many in the primordial spirit realm. But if he backed down now, wouldn't his earlier words have been for nothing? For a moment, Ba Chuanxiu could only remain silent and say nothing. You see, that young man acted with too much arrogance in the secret realm, angered many, and is now the target of everyone. Even the Overlord clan cannot withstand such pressure from the primordial spirit realm, and if we intervene, it will only make things worse, bringing great disaster to our sect. Qian Lingxiao's voice resonated in the minds of the disciples from the Chenkuan sect. Qin Zheng, Yi Qingzhu, and the rest heard and fell silent. They knew that what senior brother said was true, but in their hearts, they still felt aggrieved. They could only blame their own insignificance while watching their benefactor suffer, without being able to help. Brother Ling Xiao, what do you think? At this moment, Gong Shuzheng called out. It turned out that among the primordial spirit realm present, everyone had already expressed their stance, except for a few who had remained silent. Among them was Qian Lingxiao. Qin Zheng, Yi Qingzhu, and other Chenkuan sect disciples all looked toward their senior brother. I am insignificant and naturally accept the suggestions of the senior predecessors. Since this young man made a mistake, he should be punished. Qian Lingxiao smiled slightly, seemingly unaffected by the gazes of his junior brothers and sisters. Chuanxiu, you have heard. Everyone has unified their opinion. Are you still going to act willfully? Mystic Sword Elder said. Humph! Ba Chuanxiu snorted coldly. Since you are all colluding, what more is there to say? Does this mean you are willing to concede? Ba Chuanxiu said nothing, but from his expression, everyone knew he had acquiesced. At this moment, Mystic Sword Elder's gaze fell on Lu Qing. Then he smiled. Young man, you must have heard the conversation just now, right? I heard it. Lu Qing nodded slightly. This was the first time he spoke since coming out. Seeing him still composed, a trace of surprise appeared in the eyes of the many powerful figures. If earlier they had doubts about what their disciples had said, now they understood. Not to mention anything else, just facing so many scrutinizing eyes from those in the primordial spirit realm and remaining so calm. This calmness in changing situations already surpassed many of their disciples. In that case, is there anything you wish to say? Mystic Sword Elder asked. What do you think I should do, Senior? Lu Qing asked in return. Junior, hand over the opportunities you gained in the secret realm, and also offer up your spiritual beast. If we are satisfied, perhaps we will spare your life. Before Mystic Sword Elder could speak, the Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect coldly said, Is this also the wish of all the esteemed elders? Lu Qing inquired, looking around. This time no one spoke, but the silent stance of the primordial spirit realm members already said it all. And those Golden Core realm experts who came out of the secret realm had varied expressions. Some were indifferent, some excited, some expectant, but most had a look of schadenfreude. In their eyes, Lu Qing was already fish on the chopping board, ready to be slaughtered. Only Qin Zheng and Yi Qingzhu, and a very few others like the Five Treasures Taoist, showed concern. Lu Qing took in all of this. In the next moment he started to chuckle. Junior, what are you laughing at? The Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect frowned and demanded. What am I laughing at? Lu Qing stood proudly, a hint of mockery on his face. I laugh at you hypocritical old things. If you want to steal, just say it. Why all the convoluted schemes? So-called righteous sects of the human race, to think you are such filthy figures, it's truly disgusting. Bold, arrogant brat, courting death. Upon these words, initially the powerful figures were stunned. Then all became furious. Yet the next moment, something more astonishing happened. Lu Qing suddenly disappeared from where he stood. And when he reappeared, he was in front of the Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect. His right hand formed a fist, and in an instant, he opened his stance and punched towards his opponent's face. Lu Qing took action unexpectedly, catching everyone off guard. No one anticipated that a mere junior in the Golden Core realm would face the pressure of so many primordial spirit realm experts. Not only without fear but also daring to insult numerous primordial spirits. Even proactively attacking a primordial spirit great power. Has this kid gone mad under the primordial spirit great power's pressure? In an instant, this thought appeared in the minds of many Golden Core Realm experts. Overestimating his ability. Although the Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect was also surprised, even a bit astonished at the speed Lu Qing burst with. Being in the primordial spirit realm, his reaction was swift. He immediately sported a grim smirk. "Boy, you brought this on yourself. You can't blame me." With that, the mana throughout his body shook as he struck a palm towards Lu Qing's fist. This palm, the Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect, did not use any magical treasure, not even bothering to use primordial spirit power. He merely condensed his own immense mana into his arm and struck out. In his view, a mere Golden Core Realm individual, no matter how talented, so what? The disparity in power between great realms cannot simply be crossed by talent alone. Moreover, which of those who achieved the primordial spirit was not once a peerless prodigy in their youth? Therefore, the Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect had no doubt that his palm could crush this ignorant lad. He pondered on how to hold back to avoid accidentally killing the boy. Otherwise, the opportunities in the secret realm could not be interrogated. As the Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect's thoughts were turning, his palm had already struck Lu Qing's fist. The mana on his palm shook like a rushing tide, intending to infiltrate Lu Qing's body and destroy his physical body. However, the next moment, he was shocked to find that his mana could not penetrate Lu Qing's body. The opponent's physical body was as formidable as a magical treasure, flawless, with chi blood unbelievably powerful. Even his primordial spirit power containing water element law could not breach its defense. What? The Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect was taken aback. The next moment, something even more shocking occurred. A layer of hazy treasure light suddenly appeared on Lu Qing's body, and there was even the roar of tigers and dragons from within. Behind him, a simple big cauldron's phantom faintly appeared. The fist, once ordinary in appearance, suddenly surged with unimaginable power. Like an ancient divine mountain, it came crashing at him with boundless might. Even the Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect's arm imbued with primordial spirit power could not withstand it, and it shattered directly. Impossible! Agonized, the Supreme Elder's eyes were filled with disbelief. He couldn't believe he lost in a clash against a Golden Core Realm individual. But it wasn't over. With the arm shattered, Lu Qing's fist faced no more obstacles as it drove forward, aiming for his head. The Supreme Elder's eyebrow twitched violently as an extreme sense of danger arose in his heart. No longer caring to be shocked, the premonition warned him if he could not take this punch, he might die. Under the threat of death, the battle instincts honed in the primordial spirit realm reacted. His body shook with mana, with layers of azure mana shields emerging from within, instantly shielding his head. Simultaneously, a water-blue shield in his forehead acupoint surged outward. In less than a tenth of a breath it would emerge, offering protection. At this moment, the Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect disregarded the face of the primordial spirit realm. Suffocating under the premonition of death, he used all his means and strength to block Lu Qing's punch. What seemed drawn out was, in fact, brief. From the touch of their palms to the shattering of the Supreme Elder's arm and the manifestation of the mana shields for self-protection. All changes occurred in an instant. As the Supreme Elder's mana shield formed, Lu Qing's unyielding fist already struck. Under Lu Qing's burst, his punch surpassed the scope of the Golden Core Realm. The hastily formed mana shields couldn't stop Lu Qing's fist. Like fragile glass, dozens of mana shields were pierced and shattered instantly. Subsequently, before the disbelieving eyes of the Supreme Elder, it struck his face. Boom! A force, unparalleled and vast, exploded upon the Supreme Elder's face. In the sky, it seemed the sound of a giant hammer striking the world resounded. The Supreme Elder's head twisted, deformed, then exploded into pieces under everyone's gaze. Flesh flew, vaguely white teeth scattered in all directions. His body rapidly hurled backward, breaking through layers of atmosphere. Not dead. However, Lu Qing, having smashed the Supreme Elder's head with a punch, showed no joy. Instead, his brow furrowed. For he sensed, although the other's aura weakened, the vitality had not dissipated. Primordial spirit realm is indeed hard to kill. Lu Qing couldn't help but marvel internally. In the Golden Core realm, even top-tier 9-turn perfection would not survive a head-shattering. Yet this Supreme Elder merely had his aura weaken, his vitality intact. While marveling, Lu Qing's actions didn't hesitate. His steps cracked the air with thunderous roars, and his body vanished, catching up mid-air to the recoiling Supreme Elder. He saw the space above the neck was shrouded by a blue flow of water, wherein a phantom miniature person anxiously gazed at him. His visage was identical to the Lanhai sect elder. This is the primordial spirit cultivated by the primordial spirit realm? A thought flashed through Lu Qing's mind as he moved swiftly. His fist shone white as he launched another punch aimed at the phantom inside the blue water. No! The phantom miniature's terror on its face intensified. But even at his peak, a momentary lapse allowed Lu Qing to smash his head with a punch. Now, severely injured, how could he withstand Lu Qing's forceful punch? In despair, he let out a cry, then helplessly watched as his primordial spirit was struck by Lu Qing's punch. Bang! Blue water splashed all over the sky, and the phantom inside was annihilated. The Supreme Elder of the Lanhai sect froze suddenly, his vital aura dissipating rapidly. His body turned limp, crashing down from the air. Everyone was left staring blankly at this scene, their minds blank. Watching the headless corpse of the Supreme Elder of Lanhai sect fall from the sky. Everyone's heart felt a sense of bewilderment, and their minds were completely blank. Even among the primordial spirit great powers, it was the same. No one expected that the battle between a Golden Core realm and a primordial spirit realm great power would end with the primordial spirit realm's head being shattered, the primordial spirit extinguished, and dead on the spot. This scenario was too absurd and unbelievable, causing everyone to simply stare blankly at the scene, even wondering if they were under an illusion. In the sky, Lu Qing was about to collect the Supreme Elder's corpse of Lanhai sect but found resistance. Just as he hesitated momentarily, the body of the Supreme Elder from Lanhai sect suddenly burst with a blaze of blue light. A water blue shield rushed out from his dantian, transforming into a water stream, wrapping the corpse and quickly fleeing. It was the artifact spirit of that shield's spiritual artifact, attempting to escape with its master's body. Can you escape? Lu Qing's indifferent voice echoed. Following his words, the shadow of the ancient tripod emerged, suppressing the surrounding space. As the speed of the blue water stream drastically reduced, the leaving fire tripod flew out, growing with the wind, within breaths, turning as large as a small mountain. The mouth of the tripod opened, swallowing both the blue water stream and the Supreme Elder's corpse from Lanhai sect, suppressing them. Though both are spiritual artifacts, the power difference when driven by a master versus when not is immense. The grade of the water blue shield was not low, being one of the Lanhai sect's sect spirit artifacts and having reached the level of a middle-grade spiritual device. But with the master's death, only with the artifact spirit, it couldn't exhibit its peak power. Moreover, the leaving fire tripod is now at the pinnacle of middle grade, its grade surpassing it. So no matter how it struggles, it can only be easily suppressed by Lu Qing. After accomplishing all this, Lu Qing then turned around, facing the high-ranking primordial spirit realm. Old fellows, earlier you mentioned something about wanting me to surrender the secret realm's opportunity? As Lu Qing's calm words sounded, the surrounding mighty ones finally snapped out of their dreamlike state. Then what they felt was an even stronger sense of unreality. Did I see it wrong? That kid actually slew a primordial spirit great power. The Supreme Elder of Lanhai sect, dignified primordial spirit realm, who could contend with Ba Chuanxiu without defeat, just died like that? Can someone tell me this isn't true? How could a Golden Core realm possibly be a match for a primordial spirit realm? Indeed, this one is definitely not a Golden Core realm. Impossible. The Supreme Elder couldn't have fallen so easily. This must be an illusion technique. Master is a primordial spirit realm. How could he die? The entire sky was boiling. Those Golden Core realm mighty ones emerging from the secret realm entirely couldn't believe the scene before them was real. Many even doubted if they were under an illusion technique. Especially those disciples of Lanhai sect, with manic expressions, completely unwilling to accept what they were witnessing. Did he really kill a primordial spirit great power barehanded? Ba Tian and Shen Songfeng, the top Golden Cores, were all dumbstruck, utterly shocked. No one expected Lu Qing could perform such a defying act, with Golden Core realm physique, slaying a primordial spirit great power barehanded. They couldn't imagine how Lu Qing accomplished it. This had completely overturned their understanding of cultivation. Did Mr. Chun actually slay that supreme elder of Lanhai sect? Qin Zhang and Yi Qingzhu, and other disciples of Chenkuan sect, stood with mouths agape. They had been quite worried for Lu Qing earlier, but they hadn't thought that in the blink of an eye, Lu Qing slain a primordial spirit great power directly. This made them both delighted and shocked. No wonder Mr. Chun was so composed earlier. It turns out his true strength is so terrifying that he could even slay a primordial spirit great power. The Golden Core realms were immensely shocked, almost unable to believe. The expression of the primordial spirit realms was hardly better. All were staring at Lu Qing in shock. Their realms were profound, their sight keen, seeing far more than the Golden Core realms. Lu Qing's explosive power earlier even made them flinch. What's more important is, even with such explosive power, they didn't sense even a hint of primordial spirit realm's presence in Lu Qing. What does this indicate? It indicates that Lu Qing is still at a Golden Core realm level. Just a Golden Core, yet capable of slaying a primordial spirit. How inconceivable this is. Such events in the heavenly origin great world have not occurred in years. No one expected today. It vividly unfolded before their eyes. Some primordial spirit realms even felt a slight sense of crisis. It's known that the Supreme Elder of Lanhai sect had stepped into the primordial spirit realm for years, having overcome the primordial spirit tribulation. His strength among all present was considered decent. Yet today he was killed by Lu Qing in just a couple of punches. To say there's a significant reason is that the Supreme Elder of Lanhai sect was too complacent. If he had used all his force and driven his magical treasure immediately, he surely wouldn't have fallen so quickly, not even exhibiting his true strength, before being punched in the head. But losing is losing. Lu Qing's ability to slay the Supreme Elder of Lanhai sect shows his strength can also pose a threat to them. Though some primordial spirit realms had a strange gleam flowing in their eyes, Lu Qing's strength defies common sense, making them suspect if it's related to the secret realm's opportunity. Turns out, so-called righteousness is just a bunch of bullies. Lu Qing stood proudly midair, seeing all primordial spirit realms in silence, continued to mock. His gaze fell on Elder Tianxian. Earlier, it was this old thing, with a sanctimonious face, demanding the opportunity be surrendered. Seems we've all misjudged. Didn't expect you as a junior to have such strength. Elder Tianxian felt Lu Qing's gaze, no longer silent, spoke with a serious tone. But your methods are overly vicious. Elder Qiu just had minor conflicts with you. Yet you killed him, extinguishing his primordial spirit. Your mentality is overly malicious, surely not righteous acts. So, will you uphold justice for him? Lu Qing said indifferently. Elder Tianxian stumbled instantly. Seems your so-called morality is just hot air. Indeed a hypocritical old thing. Lu Qing sneered. Since you speak so nobly, I'll give you this chance. As his words fell, Lu Qing's figure vanished from sight again. At the same time, Elder Tianxian felt a chill in his heart. No good. His mind flashed back to the scene where the Supreme Elder of Lanhai sect's head exploded, immediately and reflexively driving his heart and spirit, as sword lights surged around, forming a sword array around him. And just at the sword array's formation, a fist appeared before him, punching onto the sword array. Instantly, sword lights scattered. The sword array of Mystic Sword Elder had just taken shape when Lu Qing's punch hit it squarely. In an instant, countless sword lights flew in all directions. A large number of sword lights were shattered by his fierce punch, creating a breach in the entire sword array. But in a brief moment, more sword lights filled the gap, continuously dissipating his punch's force. In the end, under the relentless obstruction of the sword light, the power of Lu Qing's punch was gradually worn down and ultimately failed to penetrate the sword array's defense. Having gained nothing from the punch, Lu Qing became alert, his body flickering as he retreated. Just as he retreated, a sword light slashed the position he had just vacated. The sword light was incomparably sharp, causing even the space law to tremble and fluctuate wherever it passed. If he had not dodged in time and was struck, even with his current physical body, he would have suffered severe injuries. Retreating continuously to a safe distance, Lu Qing watched the treasure sword that suddenly appeared in Mystic Sword Elder's hand. The warning in his heart just now had come from this sword, and judging by the dangerous aura emanating from it, it was clearly a spiritual artifact. A spiritual treasure sword in the hands of a primordial spirit realm sword cultivator was undoubtedly terrifying in its power. Like Mystic Sword Elder, who merely stood holding the sword yet could instill fear in all the primordial spirits, making them wary. Indeed, once a primordial spirit great power is on guard, relying on a sneak attack with the power of the physical body is difficult to succeed. Lu Qing sighed inwardly. He had been able to slay the supreme elder of the Lanhai sect earlier chiefly because the other party had underestimated him. He disguised his aura using the transformation method of a perfect golden core, revealing it only at the last moment. Thus, the supreme elder of Lanhai sect, caught off guard and overconfident, opted to fight him with the physical body despite being a magic cultivator. Though the primordial spirit realm's physical body is powerful, how can it compare to Lu Qing's heavenly witch body? Cunningly catching him off guard, the supreme elder of Lanhai sect was unable to react and was punched in the head. A primordial spirit realm cultivation was almost unused before he regretfully perished. But this method can only be used once. With precautions in place, easily slaying Mystic Sword Elder like that again was already impossible for Lu Qing. A primordial spirit realm expert remains a primordial spirit realm. If it were that easy to slay, they wouldn't hold such esteemed positions in the cultivation world. On the other side, seeing his hastily arranged sword array block Lu Qing, Mystic Sword Elder felt relief inside. Smiling slightly, he said, "So that's it. You're just relying on your robust physical body to catch Mr. Chiu off guard. It's a pity that Mr. Chiu was momentarily careless, allowing you to successfully ambush him, leading to his death and the end of his illustrious reputation. Youngster, the reason your physical body is so strong should be due to a fortuitous encounter in the secret realm, right?" The primordial spirit great powers around had a slight change in complexion, all staring at Lu Qing. Lu Qing's physical body was astonishingly strong, beyond logic, and couldn't be achieved solely through cultivation. The only explanation was that Lu Qing obtained unimaginable fortune in the secret realm. Otherwise, they couldn't understand why Lu Qing possessed a terrifying physical body far exceeding a typical primordial spirit realm. As such, the primordial spirit great power's eyes on Lu Qing turned somewhat heated. What kind of fortune would allow a golden core realm cultivator to possess a physical body stronger than a primordial spirit realm? If they could control this fortune, wouldn't it allow them to take a leap forward, further breaking through in their cultivation realm? So what if it is? Lu Qing naturally sensed the covetous intent in the eyes of the surrounding primordial spirits. But he didn't care, instead looking at Mystic Sword Elder with a half-smile. "Could it be that you old folks want to spout nonsense about having me hand over the fortune? Ignorant brat, oblivious to the heights of the heavens, arrogant and venomous with a bit of fortune. Forget it, I was considering your difficult cultivation, thinking if you'd return to the righteous path, you might one day become a mainstay of the human race. Now it seems you've fallen into the demon path, deeply rooted evil beyond redemption. This secret realm fortune in your hands will only bring great disaster to the human race in the future. In that case, let me eradicate the demon and prevent you from further harming the world." As Mystic Sword Elder's righteous words rang out, His aura grew overwhelmingly terrifying. Countless sword lights manifested around him, cutting everything. A streak of sword light flashed from the sword in his hand. The contained sword intent was so intense that even the Golden Core realm watching felt their eyes sting, their divine soul about to shatter. Is this the true power of a primordial spirit great power? The surrounding Golden Core realms, overwhelmed with fear, all displayed reverence. Is Mystic Sword going all out? The surrounding primordial spirits, realizing the situation, pulled back with their respective disciples. Mystic Sword's cultivation was not weak. Among all primordial spirits here, he ranked in the top 10 in terms of realm. But sword cultivators primarily focus on killing, and their combat power is astounding. In terms of actual strength, he could rank in the top 5. Only a few from the Overlord clans Ba Chuanqiu, Daoshu Temple, and Biluo Palace could rival him. Seeing him get serious while the primordial spirits were unafraid, their disciples might not withstand the sword intent aura from him. A careless mistake could lead to severe divine soul injuries, damaging the Dao heart. With the strong retreating, the vast sky was left with only Lu Qing and Mystic Sword Elder. Yet the primordial spirit great powers still subtly occupied the surrounding positions, constantly locking their will on Lu Qing, preventing him from suddenly escaping. The pride of the primordial spirit great powers naturally disdained to join forces against a Golden Core realm cultivator. Besides, they'd already seen through Lu Qing's tricks, knowing he was merely full of brute strength, his realm still only a Golden Core realm. To deal with such an opponent didn't warrant them joining forces. Fallen into the demon path, huh? Feeling Mystic Sword Elder's killing intent and the surrounding primordial spirit great powers' oppressive presence, Lu Qing mumbled softly. In the next moment, a somewhat wild smile slowly appeared on his face. Since you keep calling me an evil demon, today I might as well act like one. Saying so, the magic power Golden Core within Lu Qing began to rapidly dissipate, continuously merging into his physical body. How vast is the mana contained in a perfect Golden Core of the 7th transition realm? To put it bluntly, even a flawless innate top-grade Golden Core's 9th transition perfection has far less mana than Lu Qing now. Such abundant mana, when integrated into the physical body, instantly broke the limits of Lu Qing's physical body, beginning to soar upward at great speed. As Lu Qing's power of the physical body skyrocketed, a group of primordial spirit great powers suddenly changed their expressions. In their sensing, the aura belonging to the Golden Core realm from Lu Qing suddenly disappeared. It was replaced by an extremely dangerous aura, emanating from him. What is going on? What secret technique did this kid use? How did his aura suddenly become so strange? The group of primordial spirit great powers looked at Lu Qing with uncertainty. From Lu Qing they sensed a very intense crisis, indicating that the opponent could now threaten their lives. And facing Lu Qing, the Mystic Sword Elder was even more apprehensive. Originally, he wanted to suppress Lu Qing first, but the strange sudden change in the opponent and the waves of dangerous aura emanating from him made him wary and hold back from taking rash actions. And just in this hesitation, Lu Qing had completely merged the magic power Golden Core into his physical body. At this moment, an immensely powerful force filled his physical body. The Qi blood inside was surging like a raging tsunami. The surging of Qi blood rendered the originally white body treasure light on the outside to appear like burning blood-colored flames, making the current Lu Qing look like a demon god bathed in blood and fire. Seeing such a spectacle, the Mystic Sword Elder became even more vigilant. "Old man, are you ready to die?" Lu Qing lowered his hands, looking coldly at the Mystic Sword Elder, who was as if facing a great enemy. Seeing Lu Qing's indifferent eyes, the Mystic Sword Elder's heart skipped a beat, just about to say something. But in the next moment, his pupils suddenly shrank, because Lu Qing's figure had already disappeared from his sight. Even his primordial spirit sense covering all directions could not capture Lu Qing's movements at once. The only thing he could feel was a chill suddenly arising from the depths of his heart, making his whole body go numb. Stimulated by danger, the first reaction of the Mystic Sword Elder. The sword light formation originally surrounding him operated even more fiercely. At the same time, focusing his mind and holding the sword, he followed the sensing within his primordial spirit and slashed forward with a sword. An incomparably sharp sword chi flew out, and Lu Qing's figure appeared just in the direction the sword chi slashed. However, before the mystic sword elder could rejoice, he saw Lu Qing raise his hand and shatter the sword chi with a slap. Yet after shattering the sword chi, Lu Qing's momentum also came to a halt. How is this possible? The mystic sword elder's eyes bulged, unable to believe what he was seeing. How fierce was his sword chi? Even those at the same primordial spirit realm dared not face it directly. This kid actually shattered it directly with his hand. How strong could his physical body be? On the other hand, as Lu Qing took on the sword chi of a primordial spirit great power with his palm, his hand was heavily injured, cut open and bleeding, deep to the bone. But he didn't care at all. Just with a slight mental move, the unbelievable surging vitality power in his body fluctuated, and the wound on his hand healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. In less than a breath of time, the sword chi inside was expelled, fully recovered. This scene naturally shocked the mystic sword elder's heart. The sword chi infused with primordial spirit power was so easily dispelled. Old man, your primordial spirit sword chi is a bit weak. After his hand completely recovered, Lu Qing shook his wrist and spoke slowly. In his heart, however, he felt a sense of sigh. The sensing ability of the primordial spirit realm was indeed extraordinary. With his current speed and control of aura, his position was still sensed instantly. However, since a sneak attack did not work, it's time to change tactics. Since you've already made your move, it's my turn next. If you can take this punch and not die, I'll consider you have some skills. Lu Qing stood in midair as if he were standing on the ground, and slowly opened a boxing stance. Suddenly, the sound of tiger roars and dragon chants emanated from his body, shaking the sky. Arrogant words. The mystic sword elder snorted coldly but didn't plan to wait for Lu Qing's momentum to peak. With a pinch of a spell, the magic treasure long sword in his hand flew out, instantly splitting into thousands, turning into a sword chi dragon, sweeping towards Lu Qing. He wanted to completely kill Lu Qing before his momentum peaked. The power of the primordial spirit realm urging the spiritual artifact. How terrifying it was. As soon as the sword chi dragon appeared, the whole world trembled. The extreme sharp sword intent had the momentum of cutting everything and shattering all. The golden core realm spectators around. Many turned pale from the terrifying sword intent, their divine souls already injured. Sword intent turns into a dragon. The old mystic sword actually used his bottom box move. Ba Chuanqiu witnessed this scene, his expression exceptionally grave. As a former friend, he knew this was one of the mystic sword's ultimate moves, usually only used in life and death battles. Using even this meant the threat posed by the young man opposite was no less than a primordial spirit expert of the same level. The speed of the sword chi dragon was extremely fast, tracing a mysterious trajectory in the world, and within a breath, it reached Lu Qing, ready to engulf him and completely kill him. But at this moment, a simple small cauldron suddenly appeared in front of Lu Qing, grew with the wind, and instantly became as large as a small mountain, completely shielding Lu Qing's body. Everyone recognized the ancient big cauldron that earlier swallowed the Lanhai sect's supreme elder's corpse along with his spiritual artifact shield. The mountain-like ancient big cauldron blocked in front of Lu Qing, and in the next moment, countless sword lights and sword chis slashed onto the cauldron, making a huge metallic clash sound. Even with the unmatchable sharpness of the mystic sword elder's sword chi dragon, it couldn't break through the cauldron's defense. The scene was as if no matter how turbulent the tidal wave was, it couldn't shake the rock in the sea. The mystic sword elder's expression slightly changed, and with a change of spell in his hand, the sword chi dragon immediately altered its course, attempting to bypass the cauldron to attack Lu Qing behind. But at that moment, Lu Qing's long-prepared punch was also unleashed, and his target was none other than the leaving fire tripod standing before him. Boom! A thunderous roar, comparable to the sound of tribulation thunder, resounded throughout the world. With Lu Qing's current terrifying power, his fully charged punch directly struck the leaving fire tripod. Coupled with his mind urging it, the leaving fire tripod was accelerated to the extreme. It went upstream against the sword chi dragon. In an instant, it crashed and shattered the dragon's sword chi that stirred the heavens and earth. And its speed did not decrease at all, carrying immense momentum. It crashed towards the position where the mystic sword elder stood. Not good. Feeling the momentum of the leaving fire tripod, the mystic sword elder's heart and spirit trembled. However, being in the sword light formation as the array eye, he was too late to dodge. He could only watch as the leaving fire tripod crashed into his sword array. The leaving fire tripod carried boundless might, rushing upstream, shattering the sword energy dragon into pieces. Immediately after, its speed didn't decrease as it rushed towards the position where Mystic Sword Elder stood. Unfortunately, Mystic Sword Elder had previously set up a defensive sword formation using himself as the array eye to guard against Lu Qing's sudden attack, which restricted his movements. Moreover, the leaving fire tripod inherently possesses a powerful ability to suppress space. Although, with Lu Qing's current realm, he couldn't fully suppress a primordial spirit great power, he could delay Mystic Sword Elder's movements for an instant. And it was that instant which rendered Mystic Sword Elder unable to dodge in time, forcing him to watch helplessly as the leaving fire tripod, like a meteor from the heavens, crashed into his sword light formation. Instantly, sword light scattered everywhere. No matter how hard Mystic Sword Elder tried to maintain it, the sword light formation he had laid down was instantly smashed apart by the mountain-sized leaving fire tripod, crumbled and collapsed. The recoil force from his shattered sword formation extended to him, immediately causing his primordial spirit to tremble and forcing him to spit a mouthful of blood, indicating he was severely injured. But fortunately, after the sword light formation was shattered, he broke free from the bondage, and in the moment before the leaving fire tripod was about to crush him to pieces, he transformed into sword light, narrowly escaping. Yet before Mystic Sword Elder had a chance to catch his breath, suddenly he felt his primordial spirit stagnate, and illusions filled his sight. It's an illusion technique. How could it be? Mystic Sword Elder was both astonished and furious, astonished that an illusion technique could affect him in his primordial spirit realm. Furious because, as a primordial spirit realm, he had suffered successive losses at the hands of a mere Golden Core Realm Junior. Truly a monstrous humiliation. Break for me! With a roar, Mystic Sword Elder's primordial spirit trembled, instantly shattering the illusions before his eyes. Lu Qing's mistaken, divine skill trapped Mystic Sword Elder for one breath's time, then was shattered. However, one breath was already enough. Just as Mystic Sword Elder shattered the illusion, a shiver ran through his heart. Immediately after, he felt an unimaginable great strength strike his body, directly knocking him out from the state of being one with the sword light. The powerful force permeated his primordial spirit body, worsening his injuries. More importantly, after being knocked out from his sword light form, one of his hands was tightly seized. He turned to look and saw Lu Qing gripping his arm, with a menacing smile. "I've caught you." Seeing Lu Qing's somewhat ferocious smile, Mystic Sword Elder recalled the scene where the Supreme Elder of Lanhai Sect had his head blasted with a single punch, sending chills down his spine. His entire primordial spirit power struggled to shake free Lu Qing. However, Lu Qing's arm was like a pillar holding up the sky. No matter how he struggled, he couldn't move it even a hair's breadth, let alone break free. "Old geezer, have you figured out how you want to die?" Mortal words entered Mystic Sword Elder's ears. Then he saw Lu Qing, holding his arm with one hand, while his other hand started clenching into a fist. "No!" Suddenly, a great terror surged in Mystic Sword Elder's heart, causing his internal primordial spirit power to vibrate even more violently. Sword chi erupted from all his apertures, slashing at Lu Qing to force him to let go. However, all of it was in vain. Heavily injured as he was, his sword chi couldn't threaten Lu Qing at all. Lu Qing's body projected an ancient tripod phantom that deflected all sword chi. Then, His blood-red flaming fist was already punching out. The target was Mystic Sword Elder's head. At such a short distance and in a restrained condition, Mystic Sword Elder couldn't dodge at all. He could only watch in terror as Lu Qing's fist grew closer to his head. Darkness came before his eyes immediately. Boom! Yet this scene appeared differently in the eyes of others. Lu Qing was engulfed in red flames, one hand gripping Mystic Sword Elder like a chick. The other hand punched out, strong enough to shake the space, directly blasting Mystic Sword Elder's upper body to smithereens. Vile beast! I'll fight you to the death. At that moment, a scream rang out, and a shadow suddenly flew out from Mystic Sword Elder's shattered physical body. It was a small phantom figure resembling Mystic Sword Elder, riding a small white sword, darting towards Lu Qing's head at high speed. Its speed was so fast, Lu Qing almost didn't react in time, just managing to dodge his head sideways. Even so, he was slightly grazed by the small sword, instantly shattering half his head. After Mystic Sword Elder burned his primordial spirit for this final attack, he turned transparent, slowly fading into the air. The unheld white small sword fell weakly after flying a distance, ultimately caught by Lu Qing, who put it away. As Mystic Sword Elder's primordial spirit dissipated, the entire sky became deathly silent. Everyone stared in disbelief, looking at the scene before them. None expected the battle to be so brutal. The fight between Golden Core and Primordial Spirit realms resulted in one death and one severe injury. The crucial point was that the one who died was a Primordial Spirit great power. Mystic Sword is dead? Even after using a technique that burned his primordial spirit, he still couldn't kill this person? What sort of monster is this? The crowd of primordial spirit great powers was utterly shocked, totally unprepared for such an outcome in this battle. To think Mystic Sword, whose strength in the primordial spirit realm ranked at least in the top 5 among them, also fell at Lu Qing's hands. In the end, even using the forbidden move of burning the primordial spirit, which is akin to mutual destruction, did not manage to kill Lu Qing, only severely injuring him. For a moment, the primordial spirit realm individuals looked at Lu Qing as if they were looking at some monster. A sense of disbelief mingled with deep wariness. Some of the primordial spirit realm individuals even felt a surge of relief in their hearts. Luckily, they hadn't attacked Lu Qing earlier. Otherwise, the dead body might have been theirs. Lu Qing beheaded 2 primordial spirits. If the slaying of Lanhai Sect's Supreme Elder was a surprise attack, catching the opponent off guard, the battle with Mystic Sword was a head-on confrontation. Almost with overwhelming force, he killed the opponent. In other words, although his realm was still at the Golden Core level, his actual combat strength had completely stepped into the primordial spirit realm. Some even began to doubt whether Lu Qing was genuinely at the Golden Core realm. Mystic Sword underestimated the situation. At the location of the Overlord clan, Ba Chuanqiu spoke slowly after a moment of silence. As a sword cultivator, he excels in speed and offense. But because he feared the opponent's physical power, worried he'd end up like Elder Qiu, being ambushed and having his physical body exploded, he chose to evolve a sword-light formation to guard himself. Yet in doing so, he limited himself and couldn't leverage the true advantage of a sword cultivator. As a result, when the Cauldron-type spiritual artifact struck, he couldn't dodge in time. He ultimately was found at a loss, step after step. Choosing short over long in fear, opting for defense. His defeat in this battle was deserved. The surrounding primordial spirit realm individuals heard this and remained silent. They knew Ba Chuanqiu was right. Mystic Sword's recent battle was indeed too conservative, not truly showcasing the combat style of a sword cultivator. But deep down, if they had been in his place, they probably would have made the same choice as Mystic Sword. The young man's physical body was too terrifying, even stronger than their primordial spirit bodies. If he ever got close, the consequences would be unimaginable. Anyone would have to be wary. Mr. Chen, Qin Zhang and Yi Qingzhu, among others, watched this scene with a mix of shock and worry. Shocked at yet another primordial spirit great power being slain by him, and worried because Lu Qing was now seriously injured. What would happen next with so many primordial spirit great powers eyeing like tigers? As for others at the Golden Core realm, there's even less to say. Looking at Lu Qing now, their eyes were filled with reverence. No one expected that this person, already formidable in the secret realm, would become even more fierce upon coming out. Even primordial spirit great powers have fallen at his hands. People like Gong Shuyu from the Gongsu family, who once had ill intentions towards Lu Qing, were extremely fortunate for not acting against him in the secret realm. If they had, they would have likely been corpses in the secret realm. As for those who did take action against Lu Qing, like the Lanhai sect and Shenyuan sect's Golden Core disciples, they'd long turned pale. Looking at Lu Qing's figure, they trembled as if seeing a demon. Their hearts were filled with endless regret. What kind of monster did they provoke back then? Primordial spirit realm, indeed not easy to kill. In midair, Lu Qing was feeling a bit fearful. Mystic Sword Elder's final move truly surprised him. At the cost of burning the primordial spirit, driving the flying sword to unleash an earth-shattering strike. If it were anyone else, even a primordial spirit great power of the same level, at this distance they'd likely suffer, ending in mutual destruction. It's just that his life energy was powerful. Even with a shattered head, he couldn't die, enabling him to withstand this move. With a thought, surging life energy flooded within him, and Lu Qing's shattered half-head quickly regrew. In less than 10 breaths, it was completely restored, with no signs of injury visible. This sight left all the observers astounded once more. He collected Mystic Sword Elder's corpse, along with that small white sword. Standing proudly in the air, looking at the other primordial spirit realm individuals, he said calmly, "Is there anyone else who wants to give pointers?" Seeing Lu Qing's injuries fully recovered, his aura not diminished at all, the expressions of the primordial spirit realm individuals became even more solemn. After killing 2 primordial spirit realm individuals consecutively, this one seemed without any exhaustion. Just how powerful was his physical body? And what kind of opportunity lay hidden in that secret realm to temper his body to such terrifying extents at the Golden Core realm? Respected seniors, this rogue has clearly fallen into the demon path, relentlessly striking, causing 2 of our human race's primordial spirit great powers to fall at his hands. His strange physical body bears a resemblance to some demon clan general's cultivation techniques. As a junior, I suspect he is very likely a spy from the demon clan infiltrating our human race territory, here primarily to harm our elite. Amid the silence, a voice suddenly sounded. Everyone immediately looked over and discovered the speaker was Gongshu Zhang, the newly ascended primordial spirit, and a recognized genius of the Gongsu family. Cousin! Gongshu Yu and the others saw Gongshu Zhang stand out and became anxious. This scary demon had slain someone like Mystic Sword Elder, a seasoned primordial spirit great power. Why provoke him now? But though they were anxious, Gongshu Yu and the others dared not dissent. Gongshu Zheng's temper was known. What he decided, they wouldn't dare question. A demon clan spy? Upon hearing Gongshu Zheng's words, the primordial spirit great powers were moved, even though they hadn't sensed demonic energy on Lu Qing. However, Lu Qing's strangely powerful physical body was indeed similar to some of Demon Clan's devil techniques. More importantly, if it was determined Lu Qing was a Demon Clan spy, the nature of the matter would change completely. For instance, they wouldn't have to maintain appearances and could team up to slay the demon. Realizing this, some primordial spirit realm individual's eyes began to flicker. Soon, one primordial spirit realm individual stepped forward. Indeed, this one's cultivation technique is strange, resembling the cultivation of Demon Clan, and he declared himself an evil demon. There's little doubt. Mr. Qiu and Mystic Sword Taoist friend once repelled the Demon Clan on the front lines, heroes of our human race's righteous path, yet this rogue harmed them. This is a grave crime, even if not Demon Clan. He must be captured and submitted to the Holy Alliance. Another primordial spirit stepped forward and spoke. When dealing with such an evil demon, we can't hesitate. All Taoist friends, let's act together. Demon Clan's cultivation methods are strange, lest he escapes. Slaying demons and removing evil is our duty. As voices echoed, over 10 primordial spirit great powers stepped forward, expressing intentions to suppress and kill Lu Qing. Their emitted aura pressed toward Lu Qing. Immediately, the wind and clouds changed color. Where Lu Qing stood, spiritual energy surged. The space became unbearably heavy, attempting to suppress him completely. An evil demon, huh? Lu Qing felt the pressure on him, listening to the righteous-sounding words of those powerful figures. Suddenly, he chuckled lightly, looking at Gong Shuzheng. Your Gongsu family just can't change its nature, always resorting to the same tactics. Hearing this, Gong Shuzheng's eyes narrowed sharply. You really are. Am I an evil demon? Lu Qing said calmly. I've already said before, if you all like slaying demons that much, then today, let me be an evil demon. Having said this, he quietly exhibited the small divine power of great strength, cultivated to perfection after closing off in the secret realm for a year. Instantly, his already mountain-moving might multiplied several times. The red flames burning upon him nearly solidified. Boom! His hands shook slightly, breaking free from the pressure imposed by the primordial spirit great powers. Lu Qing lightly tapped, thunder erupted underfoot, and he vanished from his original spot. No way, how can his power still increase? Quick! Let's act together and suppress this rogue. Careful! Lu Qing's sudden burst made the primordial spirit great powers' faces change. They immediately acted to suppress Lu Qing. Yet it was already late. Having exhibited the great strength divine skill, Lu Qing's power reached an unimaginable level. He burst forth with speed far exceeding anything before. Before the primordial spirit great powers could act again, he appeared once more. And this time, he appeared right at the location of the Gongsu family. When Lu Qing appeared, all the members of the Gongshu family showed expressions of terror. Even Gong Shuzheng, who was within the primordial spirit realm, seemed somewhat flustered. Despite his arrogance, he was regarded as the most outstanding genius of the Gongshu family's young generation. Yet he had only recently achieved the primordial spirit, and in terms of strength foundation, there was still a significant gap compared to the Mystic Sword Elder. Even the Mystic Sword Elder fell by Lu Qing's hand. With his strength, he was even less of a match one-on-one. But Gong Shuzheng knew even more so that the more desperate the situation, the less he could afford to panic. Therefore, after his initial panic, he immediately summoned immense resolve, suppressing his heart and spirit. He understood that as long as he could block Lu Qing for just one breath, the other primordial spirit realm members could come to support him. At that time, with so many primordial spirit realm members joining forces, no matter how strong Lu Qing was, he would be completely suppressed and executed. With such a thought, Gong Shuzheng made his decision instantly. A spiritual treasure sword appeared in his hand, his entire body rippling with primordial spirit power. He immediately poured all of his mana and primordial spirit power into the treasure sword, unleashing his strongest sword strike against Lu Qing without any reservation. Under the life and death pressure, after releasing this sword strike, Gong Shuzheng felt his spirit begin to ascend, glimpsing a higher realm. A surge of joy rose in his heart. Indeed, within great terror lies great opportunity. After this sword strike, as long as he could endure until other primordial spirit realm support arrives to suppress and execute this beast. Once he returned and absorbed this insight, perhaps it wouldn't be long before he could overcome a tribulation, rivaling a seasoned primordial spirit great power like Ba Chuanxiu. The story seems long but all unfolded in just a fleeting moment. The speed of thoughts in the primordial spirit realm is incredibly fast. From Lu Qing's appearance, Gong Shuzheng's transition from panic to forced calmness, then to betting everything, releasing his strongest sword strike with all his might. All happened in just an instant. Lu Qing felt the might of Gong Shuzheng's desperate sword strike, yet his expression remained unchanged, the blood-red flame on his fist solidifying. Then, he threw a punch towards the sword light that Gong Shuzheng had struck. Lu Qing was uncertain of the exact level of his current strength. However, having demonstrated the perfection level of the great strength small divine power, his strength had surged several times compared to before. Previously, His strength had already crushed a primordial spirit great power like the mystic sword elder. Now, having multiplied several times, how terrifying must it be? As soon as Lu Qing released this punch, the spiritual energy around exploded instantly. Even the space tremored incessantly, causing waves of spatial ripples to extend towards Gong Shu Zheng's location. The unparalleled sharpness, which condensed all of Gong Shu Zheng's spirit as if it would sever the heavens, met these spatial ripples. In an instant, it twisted, oscillated, and within less than a breath, it collapsed and shattered completely. Then the spatial ripples continued extending, enveloping Gong Shu Zheng along with the clan members behind him entirely. No! Upon seeing his sword light fragment, Gong Shu Zheng's face already showed an expression of disbelief. And as the spatial ripple reached before him, feeling the extinction-level terrifying power contained within, his heart and spirit shuddered, his entire being seized by boundless fear. Behind him, Gong Shu Yu and others fared even worse, already pallid, eyes full of despair. Some, even having insufficient cultivation, were so startled by the evil qi emanating from Lu Qing that they lost control of their bodies, with a faint stench emanating from below, frightened into wetting themselves. Nevertheless, regardless of their fear, embarrassment, or pleas for mercy, none of it could affect Lu Qing's heart and spirit. His fist unyielding, unwavering in the slightest. The spatial ripples swiftly swept across the Gongsu family's members' positions. Instantly, bodies shattered, flesh and blood flying, including Gong Shu Zheng, a genius of the primordial spirit realm. All members of the Gong Shu family were blown to bits by Lu Qing's punch, without even a chance to beg for mercy. Amid the pervasive blood mist, a stream of light swiftly flew out, fleeing towards the distance. It was Gong Shu Zheng's primordial spirit. However, compared to the mystic sword elder, his primordial spirit appeared more illusory. At this moment, Gong Shu Zheng's primordial spirit was filled with insurmountable fear. He regretted extremely why he had provoked this demon. Even if he was indeed the person suspended by the clan, what difference did it make? As long as he returned to the clan to report it, naturally, there would be an ancestor coming to suppress him. Now, not only had his clansmen been slaughtered by the evil demon, but his physical body was also completely shattered. If he couldn't escape, he would be utterly annihilated in both form and spirit. Under the threat of death, Gong Shu Zheng spared no cost, directly burning his primordial spirit, using tunneling light to escape far away. However, his primordial spirit tunneling light was exceptionally fast, but Lu Qing, having already suffered once, would not fail to guard against this maneuver. In the instant Gong Shu Zheng's primordial spirit appeared, Lu Qing had already punched again. Where the fist power reached, space trembled, including Gong Shu Zheng's primordial spirit, hit in an instant. Under the destructive shock of the fist power, Gong Shu Zheng's primordial spirit began to scatter immediately, his face showing extreme fear and unwillingness. No, I am unwilling. I am the Taoist of the clan, a primordial spirit great power. How can I die like this? Yet, no matter how he roared in unwillingness, he could not resist that terrifying punch power from Lu Qing. In the end, with a piercing scream of agony, laden with endless regret, the primordial spirit completely dissipated. This scene left the group of rushing primordial spirit great powers in extreme shock and anger. They didn't expect that in just a breath's time, the people of the Gongsu family, including the genius primordial spirit realm Gong Shu Zheng, all fell victim to Lu Qing's vicious hand. Evil demon, meet your death. Immediately, several primordial spirit realm, who were the first to arrive, attacked in astonishment and anger, either slashing with sweeping sword light, or swinging with world-shaking sword qi, or directly unleashing their magical treasures, launching a siege towards Lu Qing. The combined power of several primordial spirit great powers was terrifying. Under the siege of numerous Taoist skills and magical treasures, the spiritual energy within a 10-mile radius of Lu Qing's location went completely berserk. Space trembled, and even the heaven and earth laws became chaotic. A destructive aura erupted from within. Haha, good timing. Yet even in the face of such a terrifying attack, Lu Qing remained fearless. He laughed heartily. The blood-colored flames on his body burned even more fervently. A silhouette of an ancient tripod also appeared around him. In midair, he sank his shoulder, took a step, and from within him erupted a sound of tiger's roar and dragon's cry, enough to make any primordial spirit realm's heart and spirit tremble. His fist, carrying an unimaginable momentum, blasted forward. As the punch landed, spatial ripples emerged once more violently than before. These ripples seemed inconspicuous but were actually Lu Qing's display of shaking space with sheer power of the physical body. The spatial ripples met the Taoist skills and magical treasures of several primordial spirit realm, and in an instant, the Taoist skills shattered and the magical treasures flew back. The first round of siege by the primordial spirit realm was thus neutralized by Lu Qing. Impossible! The few primordial spirit realm witnessing the scene were utterly shocked. They didn't expect that their joint attack could be so easily thwarted. But someone quickly reacted. Everyone, this wretch is formidable. We cannot hold back any longer. We must join forces entirely, or else more fellow Taoists will fall prey to his toxic hand. Agreed. At this moment, more than 10 other primordial spirit realms had arrived, nodding at the words. They were equally stunned by the power Lu Qing displayed. They knew if they didn't join hands now, they might not be able to subdue this evil demon. Immediately, more than 10 primordial spirit realms began to join forces, showcasing their unique Taoist skills, launching another siege towards Lu Qing. This time, the siege was multiple times more powerful than before. Even Lu Qing felt his heart and spirit shudder. Such a frightening attack, even with his current power, might not fully withstand it. Yet he remained calm, barely moved, as a jade talisman appeared in his hand. The next moment, with a spatial fluctuation, his figure vanished from sight. What? This scene directly startled the primordial spirit great powers who were attacking together. Because they could feel that this time when Lu Qing disappeared, it was not like before, where his explosive power caused an illusion of ghostly speed. Instead, he had truly and completely vanished. Even his aura was completely undetectable by them. It felt as if he had disappeared into thin air on the spot. Yet, under the primordial spirit sense of so many primordial spirit great powers, how did he achieve this? In their shock, the primordial spirit great powers immediately used their primordial spirit sense to search for Lu Qing's traces all around. At that moment, they sensed, with a slight spatial fluctuation, Lu Qing's aura had reappeared. But this time, his location was outside their encirclement, not far behind one of the primordial spirit realms. Be careful! The hearts of the primordial spirit realms were filled with anxiety. One of them shouted immediately. At the same time, they rushed to the position of that specific primordial spirit realm. Although they didn't know how Lu Qing managed to silently get outside their encirclement. They did know that given the power of that evil demon, once isolated, they might face unimaginable consequences. The primordial spirit realm, where Lu Qing's aura reappeared behind, also realized the danger. Immediately, he gathered all his mana, casting his Taoist skill at his rear. Yet in the next moment, he only felt a destructive aura erupt from behind him, followed by darkness, knowing nothing more. What the other primordial spirit realms saw, however, was an even more horrific scene. They only saw Lu Qing unleash a punch, spatial ripples swirled, and the Taoist skill cast by that primordial spirit realm instantly disintegrated. Even his physical body was blown apart together. Even his primordial spirit, under the terrifying spatial ripples, couldn't escape his body and was shattered, utterly obliterated. All that was left were some magical treasures and exotic objects, flying in all directions, in the blink of an eye, were collected by Lu Qing. Ah, fellow Taoist fan. Evil demon, you should die. Seeing this scene, a primordial spirit great power, who was acquainted with that primordial spirit realm, screamed in rage, immediately activating his magical treasure, attacking Lu Qing. The other primordial spirit realms did the same, each exhibiting their Taoist skills and magical treasures, launching another siege towards Lu Qing. And Lu Qing, just after collecting those relics, faced with this terrifying attack, merely cast a cold glance, and after a spatial ripple, his figure vanished again. This is the space-shifting technique. How could it be? He is merely at the Golden Core realm. How can he wield the space-shifting technique? Finally, a primordial spirit great power reacted, shouting in disbelief. The other primordial spirit realms, after sensing the spatial fluctuation again, also realized how Lu Qing had disappeared and reappeared outside their encirclement. What he used was the space-shifting technique that could leap through the void. But after understanding this, what they felt was even more incredulity. One must know, the space law is a mysterious law that only great powers above the fourth tribulation of the primordial spirit could begin to comprehend. To master the space-shifting technique, one must have an extremely profound understanding of the space Tao to possibly achieve it. Lu Qing, being merely a Golden Core realm known only for brute strength, how could he understand the space-shifting technique? Yes, this wretch must possess an unparalleled magical treasure capable of space-shifting. He couldn't possibly comprehend the space Tao. Soon, a primordial spirit realm shouted. With his reminder, the other primordial spirit realms reacted again, and immediately concluded this was most likely the truth. If Lu Qing had truly begun to comprehend the space Tao as a top primordial spirit, he wouldn't have needed to tangle with them like this. Feared that, with just a single move, he could suppress and extinguish them. Yet now he chose to engage in a running battle, clearly relying on a powerful exotic treasure to perform space shifting. Could it be this was his gain from the secret realm? One primordial spirit realm thought suddenly, a surge of jealousy rising in their heart. An exotic treasure capable of space shifting is invaluable even to them. Yet now it had fallen into the hands of an evil demon. It was simply unjust. At this moment, the group of primordial spirits felt a strand of spatial fluctuation suddenly appear. Almost simultaneously, another scream of agony rang out. Another primordial spirit great power had been ambushed by Lu Qing. His body exploded, primordial spirit annihilated. All relics seized. Then, before the other primordial spirit attacks could reach, he vanished again. Seeing the elusive Lu Qing, for a moment, all present primordial spirit realms couldn't help but feel a chill run straight through their hearts. With the mysterious exotic treasure of space shifting in his grasp, their encirclement had been broken without a fight. On the contrary, now they had to guard against the possibility of him suddenly appearing, intending to break them one by one. Be careful. Let's form an array. Jointly suppress the space. Can't let that evil demon defeat us individually, or we'll all perish. At this moment, a primordial spirit great power shouted. The other primordial spirit realms caught the message, immediately forming an array, connecting their auras to jointly suppress the space. In this way, even if the evil demon launched another ambush, they would be able to react in time. When Lu Qing appeared at the location of the Chenkuan sect disciples, everyone was greatly surprised. This time, there were more than 20 primordial spirit great powers guarding outside the secret realm. Besides the dozen or so attacking Lu Qing, nearly 10 primordial spirit great powers remained in place. These primordial spirit great powers, either out of arrogance, concerns, or hoping to reap the benefits like fishermen, wanted to prevent Lu Qing from escaping, among other reasons. In short, for various reasons, they did not participate in the attack against Lu Qing. Among them was the true disciple senior brother of the Chenkuan sect, Qian Lingxiao. Seeing Lu Qing suddenly appear before him, Qian Lingxiao's heart and spirit trembled. Previously, he had witnessed Lu Qing's terrifying display of slaughtering divine soul realm experts, as if slicing vegetables, and was already frightened. Now, seeing Lu Qing suddenly appear before him, ignoring those attacking him, how could he not be scared? His power was comparable to Gong Shuzhang, who couldn't withstand a punch from Lu Qing, and he was certainly not his match either. Mr. Chan. Instead, Qin Zhang and the others behind him showed expressions of surprise. But Lu Qing was indifferent to all this, his expression unchanged, just quietly looking at Qian Lingxiao. Seeing Lu Qing's expressionless face, Qian Lingxiao felt as if facing a great enemy and forced a smile. "Dear friend." However, before he could finish his words, Lu Qing had already opened his palm and slapped down. Qian Lingxiao was shocked and could no longer care about anything else. His whole body shook with primordial spirit power, and a flying sword was released to slash at Lu Qing. But Lu Qing's strength was terrifying. His palm descended with a force like the collapse of heaven, and even before it completely fell, the powerful force field had already extinguished the momentum around Qian Lingxiao. That flying sword was slapped away, along with the primordial spirit imprint inside it. Then, Lu Qing's palm suddenly expanded to more than twice its size, drawing a mysterious trajectory, and grabbed Qian Lingxiao's head. Then he gently squeezed. Bang! Qian Lingxiao's head was explosively crushed by Lu Qing under the watchful eyes of everyone. Even the primordial spirit within was trapped by the blood-colored flame on Lu Qing's hand, unable to escape despite struggling, burning while emitting miserable screams. Senior brother! Qin Zhang and the Chenkuan sect disciples like Zishao were shocked and shouted at this scene. "Ah! You! Hurry and beg him to release me!" Qian Lingxiao's primordial spirit, surrounded and burned painfully by Lu Qing's blood-colored flame, cried out. The blood-colored flame seemed to be some kind of ghostly thing, but he felt his primordial spirit was continuously disintegrating, and it wouldn't take long before it completely vanished. Under the shroud of death terror, he recalled Qin Zheng's relationship with Lu Qing and immediately ordered them to plead for him. "Mr. Chun, please release our senior brother. He didn't attack you earlier." Though dissatisfied with Qian Lingxiao's previous inaction, Qin Zhang couldn't bear to watch the renowned senior brother of his sect perish. "Brother Chun, please let our senior brother go." Chu Shaojing pleaded as well. "Mr. Chun, my senior brother has faults, but he doesn't deserve death. Please spare him this time." Zishao also spoke. Only Yi Qingzhu pursed her lips and remained silent. Confronted with solicitations from Qin Zhang and others, Lu Qing's expression didn't change one bit. He only shot a cold glance. Instantly, a powerful sense of fear enveloped Qin Zhang and the others, abruptly silencing their pleas. At this moment, Lu Qing's evil qi shook their hearts to their core. They had a premonition that continuing to plead might also result in Lu Qing reckoning them. Under the terrifying intimidation, no one dared to speak further. "Ah, you bunch of useless trash. Make him stop. Or once I escape, I will kill you all." Seeing Qin Zhang and others silenced, death looming over him, Qian Lingxiao abandoned all pretense and spat a string of curses. The viciousness of his words made those around shudder. His agitated, hideous face was unfamiliar to Qin Zhang and the Chenkuan sect disciples. Was this still their usually gentle, composed, jade-like senior brother? Noisy! Hearing Qian Lingxiao's curses, Lu Qing's heart and spirit activated, causing the blood-colored flames on his hand to burn fiercely. Suddenly, Qian Lingxiao's primordial spirit dissolved faster, and within a few breaths, amidst continuous screams, turned into nothingness, completely perishing. The blood-colored flame outside Lu Qing's body was an ability granted by his heavenly witch-body cultivation. Not only was it extremely defensive, but it could also burn divine souls and primordial spirits, making it exceptionally powerful. After crushing Qian Lingxiao, Lu Qing collected his body, his face indifferent, not even glancing at Qin Zhang and the others again before his figure disappeared again. This time, he appeared before the Lanhai sect disciples and slapped out a hand. In the next moment, flesh and blood flew, and that batch of Lanhai sect disciples, amidst a chorus of screams, were pulverized by a single slap from Lu Qing. Then, with another flash, Lu Qing appeared before the Shenyuan sect disciples, slapping down again. "Ah! Evil demon, evil demon! Master Ba Chuanxiu, are you still observing?" That Shenyuan sect's divine soul realm was originally among those attacking Lu Qing, and now they had formed arrays with other divine soul realm experts to guard against Lu Qing's assault. Unexpectedly, Lu Qing didn't tangle with them but turned to massacre their disciples. In extreme grief and indignation, The primordial spirit realm of the Shenyuan sect couldn't help but roar at Ba Chuanqiu and other primordial spirit realms who hadn't joined the battle. This is indeed crossing the line. Everyone, let's take action. Ba Chuanqiu watched Lu Qing continuously slay those golden core realm disciples and finally couldn't stand it anymore. He spoke to the 7 or 8 primordial spirit realms who hadn't joined the fight. Alas, why must it come to this? An old Taoist from Daoshu Temple sighed but did not refuse, releasing a black and white yin-yang diagram. The other primordial spirit realms, though silent, also successively released their magical treasures, enveloping Lu Qing. Lu Qing, who was about to decapitate another disciple under the primordial spirit realm participating in the siege against him, suddenly felt alarmed and shocked. Without thinking, he immediately activated the teleportation talisman and vanished from the spot, letting the 7 or 8 magical treasures strike at nothing. When he reappeared, it was already dozens of miles away. Reappearing, Lu Qing looked at those magical treasures, especially the black and white yin-yang diagram, with clear wariness on his face. From this magical treasure, he sensed a significant threat. With his superpower activated, Lu Qing quickly acquired information about the black and white yin-yang diagram. So that's it? A middle-grade peak spiritual artifact with powerful space suppression capabilities, significantly restraining my teleportation talisman. After reading the note information on the black and white yin-yang diagram, Lu Qing immediately understood. He also realized that this battle could no longer continue. Otherwise, if that black and white yin-yang diagram trapped him, no matter how strong his physical body is currently, he might be instantly shattered by the joint siege of more than 20 primordial spirit great powers. The group of primordial spirit great powers also noticed Lu Qing appearing again at this time. The old Taoist from Daoshu Temple helplessly retracted the black and white yin-yang diagram. Lu Qing's spiritual sense was too sensitive, and the space treasure he mastered was extremely miraculous. Moreover, the black and white yin-yang diagram was a great treasure of the temple. He only performed a temporary refinement and couldn't control it at will. Therefore, to use this treasure to suppress the elusive and highly perceptive Lu Qing was extremely difficult. On the other side, after discovering information about the black and white yin-yang diagram, Lu Qing already made a decision. He looked ahead distantly, saying lightly, "Everyone, today's enmity will never be forgotten. The future is long, we shall meet again someday." After speaking, Lu Qing's figure disappeared once again. This time he truly left. However, the primordial spirit realms present dared not be careless, remaining on high alert. They feared Lu Qing might suddenly appear again like before and launch a sneak attack. Only after a long time passed without Lu Qing appearing again did they believe he had truly left. Confirming this, many of the primordial spirit realms breathed a great sigh of relief. There was no way around it. The pressure Lu Qing brought upon them was too great. Boundless strength, extraordinary recovery abilities, plus a space treasure that allowed him to come and go unpredictably, made him capable of assaulting and killing almost anyone here. Such a terrifying enemy? Who wouldn't fear? After relaxing, several primordial spirit realms looked at the blood mist drifting in the sky, their eyes showing sorrow. In just 10 or so breaths, Lu Qing already slaughtered all the disciples of 5 or 6 sects participating in the siege from the primordial spirit realms. They traveled 1,000 miles, bringing disciples to explore the secret realm of Tianshu Divine Mountain, hoping to gain fortuitous opportunities inside. Now, not a single opportunity was obtained, and the disciples brought over were all killed. How could these primordial spirit realms not be upset and sorrowful? Immediately, someone said with hatred, "We must track down this evil demon's movements. This matter cannot just end like this. If this revenge is not taken, we are unworthy teachers. This matter must be reported to the Holy Alliance, even if it means asking the Holy Alliance to use the heaven and earth tracking mirror to locate this demon." Compared to the few primordial spirit realms whose disciples were entirely slaughtered, others were rather fortunate. Thanks to Ba Chuanqiu and others finally taking action. Otherwise, even their disciples might not have been spared. However, they didn't oppose the words of those few primordial spirit realms. From the demon's words before he left, it was evident he wouldn't give up easily. Being remembered by such a terrifying enemy, even as primordial spirit great powers, they found it hard to remain at ease. The best way was to find Lu Qing, eliminate him thoroughly, and prevent future calamities. Immediately, the primordial spirit realms began to discuss joining forces to report to the Holy Alliance, determined to track Lu Qing down, suppress and eliminate him. At this moment, these primordial spirit great powers didn't even care much about the opportunities Lu Qing possessed. They just wanted to completely annihilate this formidable enemy and eliminate the threat forever. Second senior brother. First senior brother is dead. What should we do? While the primordial spirit great powers discussed, in a corner, the disciples of the Chenkuan sect seemed somewhat lost. Chu Shaoqing looked at where Qian Lingxiao died, full of confusion, and asked blankly. Whether it was Lu Qing's transformation or first senior brother's death, the shock to her was immense, making her mind blank for a while. Qin Zheng didn't answer. He didn't know what to do either. Too much happened in such a short time. Even he felt bewildered, with a sense of being lost, not knowing where he was. As for the other disciples, there's no need to mention. They were utterly at a loss, not knowing what to do. We should return to the sect first. First senior brother is dead, and this must be reported to the sect promptly for the sect to decide. Yi Qingzhu suddenly said. But, first senior brother is dead. What if we are attacked by Mr. Chen alone on the way? A Chenkuan sect disciple stammered. Yet, as soon as he spoke, the others looked at him like he was an idiot. Then he realized it himself. Indeed, if Lu Qing wanted to kill them, he would have done it when he killed first senior brother. A mere palm could have left them without any remains. No need for sneaky attacks. Second senior brother, we must quickly decide. Just now, Mr. Chen didn't attack us. If other primordial spirit realms react, they might take action. Yi Qingzhu reminded. Qin Zheng shivered. Right, Lu Qing showed no mercy when slaying other primordial spirit realm disciples. But he hadn't attacked them. Now that the primordial spirit great powers were still shocked, they hadn't thought of this. When they realize it, who knows what actions they might take. If they get angry and vent it on us, what then? First senior brother is dead. We can't fend off the wrath of primordial spirit great powers. Thinking of this, Qin Zheng immediately decided, let's go back to the sect. At once, Qin Zheng sacrificed a flying boat treasure, leading his junior brothers and sisters away quickly. The departure of the Chenkuan sect disciples did not escape the notice of the primordial spirit realms present. But right now, their most crucial task was to discuss how to deal with Lu Qing. They weren't concerned with a few small golden core realms. Moreover, with Qian Lingxiao dead, without the protection of a primordial spirit great power, it was normal for these Chenkuan sect disciples to want to leave quickly. Of course, some primordial spirit realms did think about Lu Qing sparing Qin Zheng and the others earlier. But when they thought of it, Qin Zheng and the others were already far away, wary that Lu Qing might still be hiding nearby, waiting for an opportunity. Those few primordial spirit realms also didn't dare pursue alone, so they gave up. Thus, Qin Zheng and the Chenkuan sect disciples managed to leave Tianshu Divine Mountain smoothly. Once they got away successfully, they dared not delay and headed straight towards their sect. Those few primordial spirit realms also did not dare to chase alone, so they gave up. Thus, Qin Zheng and the Chenkuan sect disciples managed to leave Tianshu Divine Mountain smoothly. After making their escape safely, they didn't stop at all and headed straight for their sect's direction. After making their escape safely, they didn't dare linger and headed directly to their sect. In a secluded mountain cave, Lu Qing set up a concealment array to mask his presence, then used the leaving fire tripod to shield the heavenly secrets before releasing little Li. Ah Qing, you are truly amazing. So many primordial spirit realms couldn't stand up to you. Have you already reached the primordial spirit realm? As soon as little Li emerged, he pounced on Lu Qing, wagging his tail, eyes filled with excitement. Previously, Lu Qing had put little Li into the bag of heaven and earth, but didn't shield his perception. Thus, little Li could sense the movements outside through the restrictions within the bag of heaven and earth. So Lu Qing's grand display of power, slaying primordial spirits, and his graceful departure, the whole process was witnessed by little Li. He had never imagined that after a year of closed-door cultivation, Lu Qing's power had reached such heights. Even a primordial spirit great power could be easily slain. Indeed, Master. Could it be you've already stepped into the primordial spirit realm? Even Yan couldn't help but manifest and inquire of Lu Qing. Why are you asking too? Yan? Lu Qing laughed. You've always been by my side. Whether or not I have crossed the tribulation to step into the primordial spirit realm, don't you already know? The breakthrough from the golden core realm to the primordial spirit realm also requires crossing the tribulation. During Lu Qing's year of closed-door cultivation, it had been calm and uneventful. It's not that I'm asking excessively, but your power, Master, is simply too exaggerated. Yan naturally knew Lu Qing hadn't crossed the tribulation in this year, but this made it even more astonishing. Not yet in the primordial spirit realm, yet able to slay primordial spirits as easily as cutting vegetables, making all the primordial spirit great powers tremble. Lu Qing's current power is truly inconceivable. Even though Yan has always been by Lu Qing's side, observing his cultivation, it still couldn't understand why his power could reach such heights. I now have learned the strengths of two schools, so naturally I might be stronger than average cultivators. Lu Qing explained. This isn't just a little stronger. Listening to Lu Qing's words, Yan couldn't help but retort internally. But it also knew its master typically spoke modestly. After Little Li calmed down, Lu Qing asked, Little Li, what exactly happened when you were taken away? Back when Little Li was taken away by that mysterious presence at Bone Mountain, they only reunited before departing. So Lu Qing hadn't had the chance to ask him about his situation. Little Li thought for a moment. I was taken to a mysterious space by that elder, much like where a Qing stays. There was a blood pool inside, and the elder had me soak in it. As Little Li spoke, Lu Qing gradually understood that his experience was actually quite similar to his own. The difference being, after entering the purification pool, Little Li fell into a deep sleep. When he awoke, he found his physical body had undergone a significant transformation, greatly enhanced. Later, the elder said you were in closed-door cultivation and passed on a cultivation technique to me, saying I should ponder and cultivate it to avoid boredom. Oh, what technique was it? It's the 9 transformations of the True Dragon. He said I have some True Dragon bloodline within me, and the True Dragon clan was once a branch of their witch clan, so this technique suits me well. 9 transformations of the True Dragon? And the Dragon clan was once a branch of the witch clan. Lu Qing was somewhat surprised to hear this secret. The dragon bloodline within Little Li mainly came from the true blood given by the old dragon turtle initially. And the old dragon turtle's bloodline came from the Swan and I, whose ultimate source was an ancestor dragon, who was a primordial spirit 9 tribulations being from countless millennia ago. Unexpectedly, they were actually inherited from the witch clan. It seems that what the mysterious presence in the secret realm said about the witch clan no longer existing might not be entirely true. At least some bloodline has still passed down. Ah Qing, the elder said this 9 transformations of the true dragon requires true dragon bloodline to cultivate. Should I also pass it to that stinky snake? Little Li suddenly asked. Why don't you always complain about the 5 elements? Now that there's a good technique, you think of him? Lu Qing teased. I'm the big sister here. I have to take care of my little brothers. Little Li raised his head. Plus, the stinky snake has been sleeping the whole time. He missed the opportunities in the secret realm. If I don't share a bit with him, his power will grow weaker over time, and he won't be able to help me anymore. All right, you're the boss, whatever you say goes. Lu Qing said, slightly amused. But did the elder agree to this? Passing techniques privately won't be a problem, will it? No problem. I asked the elder about it. He said since the technique was passed to me, who I want to pass it to is up to me. If that's the case, then pass it to 5 elements when the time comes. Its body is that of a flood dragon, so cultivating this 9 transformations of the true dragon should be quite fitting. Lu Qing nodded. I have to wait until I've fully learned it before I can pass it. This 9 transformations of the true dragon is hard. The first 3 transformations are in the Golden Core realm, and once the 3rd transformation is mastered, it's the realm of Golden Core perfection. I'm only just beginning to grasp the first transformation, Little Lee said a bit vexedly. No worries, take your time. If there's anything you don't understand, come ask me. Lu Qing patted the little one's head. The 9 transformations of the true dragon is said to be cultivable only by living creatures with true dragon bloodline, but it is ultimately a witch clan technique. However, the undying heavenly witch body Lu Qing cultivates was created by an unknown supreme being, merging the strengths of multiple schools. Its mysteriousness likely far surpasses the 9 transformations of the true dragon. Plus, he possesses superpowers that can deduce various techniques. Helping Little Lee comprehend this cultivation technique shouldn't be difficult. Okay. Little Lee cheerfully nodded. Once I comprehend the basics and you can learn the technique, I'll let you know. Qing. He knows Qing comprehends techniques extremely quickly, no matter what technique it is. When it reaches his hands, even if he can't cultivate it, he can grasp it deeply. With his help, he can definitely cultivate this dark skill more rapidly. After playing and joking with Little Lee for a while, relaxing their mood, Lu Qing finally sat down cross-legged. He then took out various items from the bag of heaven and earth. These were the many goods he collected from the strong individuals he had slain earlier. The most striking among them were the magical treasures and storage treasures exuding powerful auras. Seeing the treasures on the ground, even with Lu Qing's mindset, he couldn't help but feel a bit stirred. This time, he had slain several primordial spirit great powers and numerous Golden Core realm strong individuals, and collected the majority of their relics, a truly bountiful harvest. Previously in the secret realm, he was worried about the shortage of spirit stones, planning after emerging to find a way to earn some spirit stones to continue closed-door cultivation. Now it seems he can save himself the trouble. With a bit of excitement, Lu Qing picked up one of the storage bags and began to inspect the treasures inside. This time, it's truly a great harvest. In the cave, Lu Qing's face was brimming with uncontrollable excitement. So many treasures. So many treasures. Little Lee even directly pounced onto a pile of treasures, rolling around happily. Indeed, Lu Qing had already finished tallying this harvest, and the magnitude of the harvest was beyond his expectations. Ignoring the low-grade magical treasures and magic artifacts from those Golden Core realm cultivators, there were 20 to 30 pieces of high-grade treasures alone. There were more than 10 top-grade treasures and even spiritual artifacts. There were 5 of them. Most of the top-grade treasures and spiritual artifacts were seized from the primordial spirit realm cultivators he had killed. Only a few were obtained from powerful Golden Core realm cultivators like Gong Shuyu. Unfortunately, of the 5 spiritual artifacts, most were low-grade spirit artifacts. Only the water blue shield of the Supreme Elder from the Lanhai sect barely reached middle grade. This made Lu Qing realize that, even in a vast world like Heavenly Origin Great World, high-grade magical treasures are still extremely precious. Even primordial spirit great powers may not necessarily have a spiritual artifact each. But in hindsight, it makes sense. Heavenly Origin Great World is vast, but it has also existed for a very long time, unlike his home world that experienced an era of spiritual energy exhaustion. This led to the immortal Tao in Heavenly Origin Great World being highly developed without experiencing an era of break in development, with countless cultivators. As the number of cultivators grows, the demand for cultivation resources increases. So, even though Heavenly Origin Great World is resource-rich, high-grade treasures are still insufficient to meet demand. Upon considering this, Lu Qing found it reasonable. Besides the large number of magical treasures, Lu Qing also obtained numerous high-grade elixirs and refining materials. These were also obtained from the primordial spirit realm cultivators he had killed. The pity is that there aren't many spirit stones, Lu Qing sighed. Indeed, among all the harvest, the quantity of spirit stones was not large. As for the reason, Lu Qing understood. Firstly, those Golden Core realm cultivators had already exchanged most of their spirit stones for magical treasure elixirs to enhance their strength before entering the secret realm. Later, during their year-long stay in the Trial Secret Realm, due to the lack of spiritual energy, most of them exhausted their spirit stones and elixirs. Even the primordial spirit realm cultivators spent a lot of their spirit stones at auctions in Tianshu City. This resulted in Lu Qing's harvest being rich, yet lacking in spirit stone quantity. Of course, if he traded these treasures for spirit stones, even a portion could be exchanged for a large amount of spirit stones. Unfortunately, he couldn't. After all, he had just killed so many primordial spirit realm cultivators, offending multiple forces. Outside, there were countless sect forces and noble families searching for him. If he dared to sell these magical treasures, he would immediately expose his identity, inviting a terrifying siege. So be it. The spirit stones obtained from the storage magical treasures of those primordial spirit realm cultivators total over 10,000 middle-grade spirit stones. Adding these high-grade elixirs with careful use, it could support my cultivation to the 9th turn of the Golden Core realm and great success in the Golden Witch. Lu Qing regretted a bit and then calmed his emotions. One cannot be too greedy. He had already gained a rich harvest this time and could not demand perfection in everything. Moreover, the most important gain this time isn't the spirit stones, but these cultivation techniques. Lu Qing's gaze fell on a pile of jade scrolls before him. These were the cultivation inheritance jade scrolls he had found in the storage magical treasures of many strong cultivators. Among them, there were dozens of golden core level cultivation techniques and 10 primordial spirit realm techniques. Lu Qing looked at the 10 jade scrolls recording primordial spirit techniques, revealing a joyful expression. In the secret realm, he had already derived his perfect golden core skill to the 9th turn level and couldn't derive it further. The reason was that the inspirations he had gotten from various golden core level techniques had been exhausted. Further derivation of the spell exceeding 9th turn had become extremely convoluted and difficult. After all, the highest level among the golden core level techniques he acquired was only the 9th turn. Regarding realms beyond the 9th turn, there wasn't even half a word of description. The only record was the Taoist chapter given by the Taoist law back then. But solely relying on a profound Taoist chapter to derive a specific cultivation method was no easy task even for him with superpower. Before in the secret realm, Lu Qing had planned to find a way to acquire more primordial spirit realm techniques for inspiration after coming out, to see if he could derive a spell beyond the 9th turn. Initially, he thought this goal would be extremely hard to achieve. Unexpectedly, he suddenly obtained 10 primordial spirit realm techniques. All of a sudden, not only did he have enough spirit stones and elixirs for cultivation, but also the resources to further derive the follow-up spells for perfect golden core skill. In this case, it's hard to say whether this exposure was a blessing or a curse. Could it be that all this was within the calculations of that senior? Lu Qing couldn't help sighing. Previously, he was directly teleported to the secret realm entrance by a mysterious presence inside the secret realm, exposed before many primordial spirit great powers. At first, he felt it might be an error on the senior's part due to unawareness of the external situation. Yet, after this battle, he replenished all his lacking cultivation resources in one go. Adding the words spoken by that senior before leaving the secret realm, it made Lu Qing wonder if it was all within the mysterious presence's plan. If truly so, it would indeed be terrifying. Instantly, Lu Qing's heart was filled with a profound and inscrutable feeling. He developed a deep reverence for these ancient beings who had lived for countless millennia. Ah Qing, what do you plan to do with these treasures? At this moment, Little Li finally cleared his mind a bit and asked. Lu Qing thought for a moment and said, "There are so many magical treasures that we can't use them all. Choose a few you want to refine, and we'll store the rest." Okay. Upon hearing this, Little Li happily began selecting from the large pile of magical treasures. Looking at the little one's excited expression, Lu Qing smiled slightly. He had acquired too many magical treasures this time. Even the 5 spiritual artifacts were more than he could refine. For magical treasures, quality mattered more than quantity, especially at the level of spiritual artifacts. Activating them required considerable mana and heart and spirit. The more you refine, the heavier the burden on your heart and spirit. Lu Qing himself already had several spiritual artifacts and didn't need to be too greedy. While watching little Li choose magical treasures, Lu Qing's expression suddenly changed. Then he directed his heart and spirit into the universe bag, revealing a smile. The five-element spirit had finally awakened. Master, I've made a breakthrough. When the five elements were released from the heaven and earth pouch by Lu Qing, the first thing it did was to report the good news to him. It turns out its cultivation, after digesting several golden core realm spirit beasts and demon beasts, had made a significant breakthrough. Now it had already stepped into the third transition of the golden core realm. Not bad, not bad. This time your closed-door training and slumber were quite rewarding. Lu Qing nodded in approval. Little Li, I've made a breakthrough. Am I now more powerful than you? Ecstatic from Lu Qing's praise, the five elements went to show off in front of little Li. Scram! Currently gleefully selecting a suitable magical treasure, little Li's ears perked up and it glared at the clueless snake when disturbed. It even emitted a trace of aura from its body. Suddenly, Five Elements was terrified, feeling that little Li's aura was incredibly frightening, like a natural predator, making it shiver. Seeing the Five Elements' body stiffen, with even its tail straightened out, little Li then retracted its aura and continued selecting magical treasures. At this time, Five Elements also noticed the large pile of powerful magical treasures in front of little Li, and was even more dumbfounded. It was somewhat confused. How come waking up, little Li's strength seemed much greater than before? Clearly, it had made a breakthrough, but compared to little Li, it felt like the gap was even larger than before it fell asleep. And where did all these powerful magical treasures come from? What exactly happened during its period of slumber? Seeing the Five Elements subdued by little Li's power, Lu Qing was at a loss for words. He called the Five Elements over and briefly recapped recent events, leaving the Five Elements wide-eyed in shock. It never expected that while it was asleep in the heaven and earth pouch, the adventures of its master and little Li outside were so thrilling. As the Five Elements was in a daze, Lu Qing took out a jade bottle. Inside this jade bottle, there are some exotic beast bloodlines we collected in the secret realm. Try refining them and see how much you can absorb. Exotic beast bloodlines? Master, do I get a share too? The Five Elements grabbed the jade bottle with its claws, was momentarily stunned, and then became excited. Just hearing Lu Qing mention the events in the secret realm, especially about refining the exotic beast bloodlines to vastly enhance the physical body, had already left it envious. Now, hearing that the jade bottle contains such wondrous exotic beast bloodlines, how could it not be excited? Everyone gets a share. Little Li and I collected quite a lot. Take it for refinement. Oh, and little Li also acquired a very powerful cultivation technique. Whether you can obtain its teachings depends on your own ability. Not only Five Elements share, but Lu Qing also collected a considerable amount of witches' primordial blood in the secret realm, ready for his master and little Yan as well. Upon hearing Lu Qing's words, the eyes of Five Elements lit up instantly. It immediately ran over to little Li, eagerly trying to win its favor. As expected, the impatient little Li directly slapped it away with a paw, plastering it onto the stone wall of the cave. Yet Five Elements paid no heed, continuing to fawn over little Li. Lu Qing smiled at this, ignoring the two creatures' shenanigans, and set up a sound-blocking array. He then sat cross-legged, ready to begin cultivation. Previously, in the secret realm, he had initially planned to elevate his cultivation to the 9 transition of the Golden Core realm in one go. But due to the impending closure of the secret realm and a shortage of spirit stones, he had to exit prematurely. This time, however, he had gained a substantial amount of spirit stones and cultivation techniques. Moreover, he had just slain many primordial spirit realm powerhouses and Golden Core realm experts, angering numerous sect forces and noble families. Outside, there were surely many powerful forces eager to hunt him down. Therefore, it wasn't advisable to show himself for a short period. Although Lu Qing was now able to slay primordial spirit initial realm opponents, he didn't feel complacent about his strength. The heavenly origin great world is vast and profound, concealing unknown ancient monsters. His current strength was still insufficient in front of those who had passed through multiple primordial spirit tribulations. Since the winds were unfavorable, he took this opportunity to undertake an extended closed-door training to elevate his realm and strength to a new level. Only then could he have greater assurance for self-protection. Thus, Lu Qing began his long-term closed-door training in the cave. During his secluded cultivation, word of the battle at Tianshu Divine Mountain gradually spread, quickly causing waves and astonishing countless people. After all, with the fall of numerous primordial spirit realm figures in a single battle, it was a heavenly affair, irrespective of the timing. Ordinarily, the demise of even one primordial spirit great power was notable, capable of stirring several regions into commotion. This time, the sudden fall of so many primordial spirit great powers was not to be mentioned. Historically, only during invasions by the demon clan, triggering large-scale battles, would there be such numerous primordial spirit great power fatalities. But the area around Tianshu Divine Mountain was deep within the human race territory, not bordering the demon clan regions at all. Why did such a grand battle occur? For a moment, the entire world was fixated on this explosive news. And as more details of this battle were revealed, many people reacted differently. What, the one who slaughtered so many primordial spirit realm figures was a golden core realm who just emerged from a secret realm? Impossible! A mere golden core realm, how could he possibly be a match for a primordial spirit great power, let alone kill one? How could such an absurd thing exist in the world? Even nonsense must have its limit. A mere golden core realm, a primordial spirit great power could eliminate him with just a breath, yet they say he counterkilled a primordial spirit. Who spread such false information? When it was rumored that the one who killed numerous primordial spirit great powers was a golden core realm cultivator who had just emerged from the secret realm of Tianshu Divine Mountain, the vast majority reacted with disbelief. After all, it was far too absurd, such a mere golden core realm counterkilling primordial spirits, and even killing multiple primordial spirit great powers before leaving easily. No matter how you hear it, it sounds fake. Does everyone really not understand cultivation? However, just as countless cultivators ridiculed this news and considered it false information fabricated by some people, another piece of news emerged, shocking everyone once again. The Holy Alliance issued a pursuit order, stating that an evil demon used a secret technique to infiltrate the human territory and entered the secret realm of Tianshu Divine Mountain, obtaining heaven-defying opportunities. Subsequently, when the secret realm closed, it took advantage of the unpreparedness of multiple primordial spirit great powers and used evil techniques to harm them, finally evading capture. Now, that evil demon is likely still lurking within the territories of humans, prompting the righteous way across the world to be cautious and report immediately to the Holy Alliance if they discover any traces, to carry out an extermination. If anyone could provide effective information or kill that evil demon, they could obtain the generous bounty jointly offered by the Holy Alliance and various sect forces. Accompanying the pursuit order was an image of Lu Qing's face and Little Li's transformed appearance. Upon the issuance of this pursuit order, everyone was finally convinced that indeed a great battle had taken place on Tianshu Divine Mountain. But it wasn't as the rumor stated, as some golden core realm counterkilling primordial spirits or the like, but rather a powerful demon cultivator above a demon general had infiltrated and used evil techniques to harm numerous primordial spirit great powers. Thus, the mentality of the cultivators changed once more. Ambitious ones, eager to slay demons and uphold justice, or aiming to collect the generous bounty from the Holy Alliance, immediately headed towards Tianshu continent. Others, with smaller courage, terrified by the thought of such a terrifying demon lurking within human territories, became frightened and began closed cultivation, planning not to go out for a while to avoid encountering that demon and meeting their doom. Moreover, some cultivators already on Tianshu continent chose to flee and steer clear of this trouble-ridden place. Among them, some cultivators, upon seeing the image from the Holy Alliance depicting Lu Qing and Little Li, were especially shocked. "Grandpa, isn't the person shown there the brother Chun who saved us?" In a certain city, a child quietly asked while looking at the image on the city wall. "That is indeed Brother Chun, and the one he's holding is Little Li, isn't it?" Another child confirmed. Silence that nonsense. The elderly man they asked immediately changed expressions upon hearing the conversation between the two children. He quickly waved his hand to set up a restriction, sealing their mouths to prevent others from hearing their words, then hurriedly left with the two grandchildren. Only after returning to his own cave mansion did he lift the restriction on the two grandchildren. "Grandpa, why won't you let us speak? Isn't Brother Chin a good person? Why does the notice say he's an evil demon?" Once unlocked, one of the children asked in confusion. "You two are not to mention anything about your Brother Chun from now on, otherwise I will lock you in a quiet room for closed cultivation until you reach Foundation establishment and cannot come out," the elder sternly admonished. Faced with such a terrifying punishment, the two children's faces turned pale immediately. They were only at Qi refining minor success. Reaching the Foundation establishment realm would mean years of closed cultivation. They no longer dared to ask questions. "All right then, both of you go cultivate, and remember, do not mention this matter again." After scaring them into silence and sending them off to cultivate, the old man began thinking with a face filled with indecision. He had never expected that the young man who had once traveled with them for so long and saved them on Gale Plain would cause such an earth-shattering event in the Tianshu continent. With such strength to single-handedly kill multiple primordial spirit great powers, has his power already reached this level? The old man couldn't help but sigh. His mind recalled the scene of Lu Qing, standing alone in Gale Plain, with his sword holding off a primordial spirit realm wind beast to cover their retreat. He didn't expect that, in such a short time, Lu Qing would already be able to kill primordial spirit realm beings. The pace at which his strength grew was truly terrifying. It's probably exactly as the Pursuit Order states. He must have gained incredible opportunity in the secret realm at Tianshu Divine Mountain. However, regarding the notice's claim that Lu Qing was an evil demon, the old man didn't believe it at all. What kind of evil demon would risk his life to cover the retreat of strangers? Clearly, it must be those big forces deliberately besmirching his name to save face. The old man, familiar with the nature of some upper-tier forces, revealed disdain in his eyes. As for the Pursuit Order's promise of generous rewards for providing relevant clues, he wasn't tempted in the slightest. Though he wasn't strong, he was too proud to betray a benefactor for cultivation resources. But among those who traveled with them through Gale Plain, many people saw him. Surely, someone among them would not be able to resist the temptation and provide clues. Just hope it won't negatively impact him, the old man thought with some worry. Could this Chun Qing be fellow Taoist Lu Qing? In the Nangong family, one of the 36 noble families of the heavenly origin great world, Nangong Yuanwu, with a pallid face and weakened aura, muttered while looking at the intelligence his family brought. He recalled the young man who saved him and Mo Hongyun and who had eventually followed him to the upper realm. Although there were some differences in appearance between the image in the intelligence and that mysterious young man, there was still a faint sense of familiarity. Moreover, this person also had a spiritual pet resembling a raccoon. Though the pet's appearance had also changed, there couldn't possibly be such a coincidence in the world. Could there? Thus, Nangong Yuanwu was 70 to 80% sure that the person on the Holy Alliance's pursuit order was probably fellow Taoist Lu Qing. With a robust physical body and unrivaled boxing skills, isn't this precisely fellow Taoist Lu Qing's fighting style? Who would have thought, not long after entering the upper realm, that his power would have grown to the point where even a primordial spirit initial realm cultivator isn't his match anymore. After discussing the Tao with Lu Qing, Nangong Yuanwu was aware of the inscrutability of this young man. After entering the upper realm, he was bound to stir the winds and waves of the world. But he didn't expect that day to come so swiftly. In just a few short years, that Golden Core Realm cultivator had already become able to effortlessly kill primordial spirit initial realm great powers. Such power wasn't even something that he, at his peak, could contend with. However, Gong Shuzheng actually died, and died well. The most brilliant young genius of the Gongsu family is dead. Surely they must be heartbroken. Nangong Yuanwu displayed an expression of satisfaction on his face. When he had just returned to the upper realm, he was nearly ambushed and killed by assassins from the Netherworld Palace. To this day, he'd been weak and didn't know if he'd ever recover, filling his heart with hatred. He knew members of the Gongsu family were behind it, but injured as he was, revenge seemed impossible. Now, knowing that the most brilliant young primordial spirit cultivator of the Gongsu family, Gong Shuzhang, perished in Tianshu Divine Mountain, the satisfaction within his heart nearly eased his own injuries. It's a pity Red Yun isn't here to share this news. Nangong Yuanwu expressed some regret. Mo Hongyun had been sent to another great world by him long ago, and even after all these years, she had not returned. Even Nangong Yuanwu himself could no longer reach her. He did not know when they would reunite. Chenkuan sect, Yi Qingzhu knelt in front of her master, with her head lowered, listening to his reprimand. So, Ling Xiao really fell at the hands of that Chen Qing? Mo Xian Taoist frowned and said, "Yes, master," and before senior brother's fall, he seemed to have undergone a change in temperament. Yi Qingzhu softly recounted how Chen Ling Xiao seemed like a different person before his demise, cursing at them. After listening, Mo Xian Taoist's expression did not change much. He had lived for a long time, seen too many people, and knew that most people hid another side of themselves. So what his beloved disciple said, although surprising him, did not reach the point of moving him. What concerned him more was the impact after Chen Lingxiao's fall. In any case, Chen Lingxiao was the true successor disciple of their Chenkuan sect, one of the faces of their sect. Now that someone had openly killed him, their Chenkuan sect certainly had to respond. Master, with senior brother gone, what will our Chenkuan sect do? Yi Qingzhu cautiously asked at this moment. It's not for me to decide, it depends on the sect master's decision. After all, Ling Xiao was his descendant. Mo Xian Taoist shook his head and said, "You stay with me recently, and don't go outside again." Disciple understands. Yi Qingzhu obediently agreed. Initially, she did not anticipate how fast those primordial spirit great powers would be. The second senior brother had already been rushing all the way, leading them back quickly. Unexpectedly, when they returned to the sect, they found that the sect had already learned of senior brother's death as well as the battle at Tianshu Divine Mountain. Even the Holy Alliance had already issued a bounty for his pursuit, publicizing it widely. Feeling the unease, Yi Qingzhu immediately came to her master upon returning, seeking protection. Although they felt no guilt, the matter of senior brother's death was indeed too significant. Who knows if the furious sect master would lay the blame on them? After all, the one who killed senior brother was Taoist Chen Qing, and Taoist Chen Qing previously had a very good relationship with them. Moreover, he destroyed many disciples of other powers this time but spared them. If the sect master's lineage assumes they conspired from within to harm senior brother, it would be truly indefensible. Only master stepping in could prevent them from being wronged. Don't worry. The sect master isn't such an unreasonable person. That Chen Qing has slain many primordial spirit great powers, clearly not targeting only our Chenkuan sect. As long as you all feel no guilt, master will naturally stand up for you. Seeing his disciple a bit apprehensive, Mo Xian Taoist comforted her. Disciple and others naturally feel no guilt, Yi Qingzhu firmly stated, and I don't think Taoist Chen Qing is an evil demon. Never speak those words again. Mo Xian Taoist's expression turned solemn. I know Chen Qing saved you several times, and you appreciate his kindness. But now he has caused a major disaster. With many forces united and even the Holy Alliance targeting him, you must absolutely not get involved with him anymore. Otherwise disaster will strike, and even master cannot protect you, understand? Yi Qingzhu's body froze. Although reluctant, under her master's gaze, she finally nodded in slight grievance. Disciple understands. I know you're unwilling, Mo Xian Taoist sighed. But that's how the world is. The weak have no right to choose. If you want to live according to your own will, then strive in cultivation. As long as you can achieve the primordial spirit, after passing several tribulations, even if you associate with the demon clan, no one will dare to criticize. Yi Qingzhu's body shook. She murmured softly, achieve the primordial spirit. After a while, her eyes cleared of confusion, revealing determination. Master, disciple understands. Good that you understand. Seeing the determination in his beloved disciple's eyes, Mo Xian Taoist nodded in satisfaction. He held high hopes for Yi Qingzhu. She was the most outstanding under his tutelage and the most likely to achieve the primordial spirit. This event was not necessarily a trial for her. If she could overcome the inner confusion, her Tao heart would certainly become more solid, greatly increasing her chances of achieving the primordial spirit. All right, since you've stayed in the secret realm of Tianshu Divine Mountain for so long, your body will have accumulated a lot of mountain qi. Go retreat and dissolve it first. Disciple takes her leave. After Yi Qingzhu withdrew, Mo Xian Taoist's expression became serious again. He looked towards the main peak of the sect. Sect Master, I wonder what you'll choose. I hope you won't let personal feelings override the sect's greater good. Mo Xian Taoist sat quietly in his quiet room, his aura enveloping the entire mountain peak, incomparably thick. Soon, the entire mountain became shrouded in mist. Even primordial spirit great powers could not see through its depths. After waiting 2 days, the sect master's lineage finally issued an edict, listing Chun Qing as Chenkuan sect's greatest enemy, to be killed on sight by disciples within the sect. Besides this, there was no other action, only the arrangement for Chen Lingxiao's funeral began. Upon this, Mo Xian Taoist's aura gradually receded, and the mist enveloping his secluded mountain peak slowly dispersed, returning to its usual clarity. Mo Xian Taoist knew the sect master had ultimately made the right choice. He would naturally also have to express something in response. If possible, he wouldn't want to conflict with the lineage of the sect master either. After all, they all belonged to the same Chenkuan sect, sharing the same roots. If things got too ugly, it would just be a joke for other sect forces to watch. A day later, Chen Lingxiao's funeral took place as scheduled. However, because Chen Lingxiao's body was taken by Lu Qing, the Chenkuan sect had to set up a clothes burial mound in the end. This also deepened the hatred of the sect master's lineage towards Lu Qing. After the funeral, the Chenkuan sect almost mobilized the entire sect's strength, sending out disciples to track down Lu Qing's whereabouts. Other several sect forces and noble families took the same action. These powerful forces also had great powers and many disciples who fell at Lu Qing's hands. They also declared that they would spare no expense to find and completely kill this evil demon. The Gongshu family, one of the 36 upper families, even went so far as to openly place a bounty at the Netherworld Palace, saying that anyone who could assassinate the evil demon would be rewarded with a middle-grade spiritual artifact from their family. All these, plus the hunting order issued by the Holy Alliance. For a while, almost every ambitious cultivator in the world started searching for Lu Qing's traces. The news even spread to the demon domain. Yu Ling, is it true that one of our demon clan infiltrated the human domain and killed several human primordial spirits, and retreated unscathed? In a certain palace shrouded in demonic aura, a wild voice echoed, causing the entire palace to tremble slightly. In the center of the palace, there was a huge throne, upon which a terrifying aura casually lounged. Supporting his chin with his hand, he asked with interest, "Reporting to the Demon Lord, the information obtained by your subordinate is exactly so. Now, the Holy Alliance of the human race has issued a hunting order, determined to find and suppress our clan member." A woman dressed in armor with a graceful figure, 2 black horns on her head, and a long, spiked tail behind her, knelt on one knee answering. "Our demon clan actually has someone so brave as to dare go alone into the human domain and kill enemies?" The terrifying figure's eyes lit up. "Have you found out who it is?" "Not yet," the graceful figure answered. "We only know that the clan member goes by the alias Chun Qing and is accompanied by a royal spirit beast suspected of having an ancient demon clan bloodline, able to infiltrate the human race undetected while carrying a spirit beast with ancient bloodline? This is quite interesting." The terrifying figure's eyes grew brighter. "Demon Lord, what should we do about this? Could it be a false message intentionally spread by the human race to trick us?" asked the graceful figure. "Whether it's true or not, you won't know unless you investigate," the terrifying figure said with little concern. Doesn't your clan have a secret technique that can perfectly transform into a human race member undetected? In that case, take some people and see if it's true. The graceful figure trembled slightly, but the demon lord's orders were indisputable. Immediately, she heavily saluted. Understood. I will take people and head to the human domain now. Go. Take this with you. The terrifying figure on the throne flicked out a black bead. This soul pearl contains a strand of my primordial spirit power. If you encounter an unbeatable enemy, you can summon an avatar of mine with it and use it against them. Thank you, Demon Lord. I will not fail. The graceful figure was overjoyed, received the black bead, and bowed deeply, while the graceful figure led her clan to try and infiltrate the human domain. In another domain, in the sanctuary of countless demon clan hearts, an edict was issued. Go. Bring back our clansmen who are roaming outside. For a moment, undercurrents surged in the human domain. Homeland, Jili Village, half-mountain small courtyard. Little Yen was dressed in white, gracefully standing in front of the courtyard, looking to the sky. Brother and Little Li have already been gone for nearly 20 years. I wonder how they're doing outside, whether they've reached other worlds, and if they're being bullied. Little Yen still looked the same as when Lu Qing left, unchanged. It's just that her aura became more restrained and her temperament cooler. She gazed at the sky, missing her brother and Little Li, and worrying about how they fared in the outside world. After a while, Little Yen suddenly smiled. What am I thinking? Brother is so powerful. He's always the one bullying others. Who could bully him? Perhaps, brother has already entered a formidable world, where his cultivation has greatly advanced, matching the primordial spirit realm. Regarding her brother, Little Yen had the most confidence. She believed that no matter where he went, her brother would always be the most dazzling one. Even if laying low for a while, there would surely be a day he would soar unstoppable. Little Yen, thinking about Ah Qing again? Elder Dr. Chun walked out of the small courtyard, still looking healthy, his aura gentle and natural, giving a comforting presence. Yes, brother and Little Li have been gone for a long time, and Little Yen misses them. Little Yen did not deny. Yes, they have been gone for a long time. The elder doctor also looked at the sky, feeling sentimental. How could he not miss Lu Qing and the others? Nearly 20 years had passed since Lu Qing took Little Li and others away, leaving no news behind. Fortunately, the puppet avatar left by Lu Qing was still safe and sound, in seclusion at Jade Cave. This at least let them know that Lu Qing was safe for now, as the elder and the young one were both missing Lu Qing. Suddenly, a streak of light flew from the sky. Little Yan's expression changed and she reached out to catch it. It was a communication jade token, and as Little Yan read the message inside, her expression gradually became serious. What's happened? The elder doctor noticed Little Yan's expression and asked. It's a message from Brother Ji Rue. He said that the Holy Mountain recently discovered the frequent appearance of demonic traces, suggesting a sign of revival of ancient demon cultivators. He wants me to discuss countermeasures there. Little Yen said. Is it about demon cultivators? The elder doctor pondered for a moment. In fact, I have indeed discovered some unusual occurrences during my travels over the years. For reasons unknown, everywhere in the world, evil cultivators frequently appeared, draining essence blood and refining zombies, likely what Ji Rue mentioned. Over the years, the elder doctor would occasionally travel the world, mainly because the heaven and earth Dao sound resonated once again, and spiritual energy revived, while various evil qi intensified. This caused toxic miasma and even epidemics to occasionally appear across the world. He wandered the world, using his medical skills to heal and save people, dispelling miasma to prevent disaster. What other reason could there be but certain ignoble people growing bolder because brother hasn't shown up for many years? Little Yen said indifferently. Before leaving, brother told me the world wasn't peaceful, with hidden demon threats likely emerging once he left. It seems his prediction was correct. Little Yen recalled when her brother took her to slay a golden core evil cultivator in the far North Glacier. He told her a hidden hand was likely behind it. She wondered if the frequent demonic traces this time were driven by that hidden hand. No matter if it's you, since you dare to reach out, I'll cut off your claws first and then find you, Little Yen said icily. Little Yen, will you be heading to the holy mountain now? The elder doctor asked. Yes. I'll go to the holy mountain to see what's happening, Grandpa Chen. I'm leaving the village to you. I don't intend to travel for now. Rest assured and go. Little Yen nodded slightly, then transformed into a streak of light, ascending into the azure darkness, heading towards the holy mountain. The elder doctor felt the chill from Little Yen before she left and sighed. Ever since Qing left with Little Li, Little Yen became more silent and her nature colder, with an aversion to evil. He had no way to change these traits, only to let nature take its course. He could only hope that when Qing returned, Little Yan's nature hadn't become too extreme. The demon domain and the monster domain sent people to infiltrate the human race's territory to find Lu Qing. The Holy Alliance also issued a kill order to hunt Lu Qing. Some sect forces and noble families even set a bounty on Lu Qing within the Netherworld Palace. For a time, half of the heavenly origin great world was stirred into motion because of Lu Qing's undercurrent. However, strangely, no matter how these three forces investigated openly and secretly, calculated and searched, they could not find the cultivator named Chun Qing from that day. He seemed to have disappeared into thin air, never appearing again. Even with the intervention of top experts calculating the world, they still could not find any trace of him. At first, everyone thought he was just well hidden, and many cultivators persisted in searching. But as time slowly passed, after several years with no discoveries, gradually some began to give up. That evil demon clearly had an exotic treasure capable of shielding causality, which could explain why even top experts couldn't calculate his whereabouts. The heavenly origin great world is vast, and with such a treasure, if he was determined, he could easily hide in a secluded corner for 100 or 80 years. Some even thought that the evil demon had long escaped back to the demon domain and wasn't even within the human race's territory. Thus, gradually, fewer and fewer people sought Lu Qing. Eventually, even some sect forces began to give up. The once world-shaking battle at the Tianshu Divine Mountain also gradually faded from memory. As they say, the heavenly origin great world is too immense, with major events occurring every day. People's attention cannot remain fixed on one matter forever. New major events are bound to capture their heart and spirit. In the end, as the years passed, even the battle was rarely mentioned. The heavenly cold continent is a rather special continent within the heavenly origin great world. This continent is cold throughout the year, with frigid winds blowing constantly, and ice and snow are everywhere. The plants that grow within are extremely cold resistant. It's not a continent suitable for ordinary people to live. However, the heavenly cold continent is adored by many cultivators practicing water element and ice element cultivation techniques. Cultivating here can yield double the results with half the effort. Moreover, the heavenly cold continent produces various treasures and spiritual materials with cold ice attributes, attracting many merchants to conduct trade here. Over time, the population here became quite substantial. One day, in the heavenly cold continent, in front of a medium-sized city named Earth Fire City, a young man in a fur coat slowly emerged from the snow and wind. He glanced at the poster on the city gate, which was somewhat torn, paused, and then continued toward the city gate. Welcome to Earth Fire City, fellow cultivator. Where have you come from? The guard at the city gate asked. Loose cultivator Luin, making a home wherever I roam. I wish to find some ice attribute spirit grass here for alchemy. The young man fully removed his hood, revealing a very ordinary face. Are you a pill master, fellow cultivator? Forgive me for not recognizing. The guard immediately became more respectful upon hearing this. Alchemists and artifact refiners, these two cultivator professions, are welcomed everywhere. After all, cultivation cannot be separated from elixirs and magical treasures. Making the acquaintance of an alchemist or an artifact refiner is something most cultivators are delighted to do. I merely know a little about the common elixir refining methods, unworthy of the title of Pill Master. The young man modestly said, but the guard still treated him with courtesy. You're too humble, fellow cultivator. You must be here for the upcoming event at Ice Soul Valley in half a month. Correct. Indeed. I heard that there is a magical ice valley here that emerges once every 50 years, containing numerous spiritual objects. I wish to seize this opportunity. Haha, the once every 50 years emergence of Ice Soul Valley is indeed a unique spectacle of our Earth Fire City. I hope that when the time comes, fellow cultivator will achieve your desired spirit grass. The guard chuckled. Well, I'll take your good wishes for granted. The young man smiled. Then please leave your divine soul seal here to register, and you may enter the city. The guard took out a roll of jade scroll. All right. The young man did not refuse, casually leaving a divine soul seal on the jade scroll. The guard looked at the jade scroll, which emitted a white light, and immediately felt relieved. No problem. Please enter, fellow cultivator. Thank you. The young man said politely, then donned his hood and walked into the city. He knew that the Jade Scroll was a magical treasure, and it was equipped in every major city. It recorded information on many of the heavenly origin great world's most wanted criminals. Moreover, it had the function of detecting demonic chi, aiming to prevent evil cultivators from sneaking into the city. However, he had long altered his divine soul fluctuations, so he naturally wasn't worried about revealing his identity. Once he entered the city, the temperature became much warmer. This city was named Earth Fire City because beneath it lay a fire meridian. 10,000 years ago, a great power with immense mana laid down a big array, connecting to the underground fire meridian and establishing Earth Fire City. Ah Ching, the city gate just now also had a kill order posted about you and me. Suddenly, a white little beast resembling a fox emerged from the young man's neck, transmitting through divine soul. Pay it no mind, they won't find us anyway. Besides, that matter happened long ago, and I see many people have almost forgotten about it. The young man whispered gently. Indeed, this young man dressed in a leather coat is none other than Lu Qing, who had disappeared for some time in the heavenly origin great world, and whom numerous sect forces had failed to locate despite their best efforts. As for the little white beast, naturally it was little Li. It's all thanks to your intricate transformation technique, Ah Ching, that even primordial spirit great powers cannot see through our changes. Little Li said somewhat proudly. Yes, who would have thought your mastery of the 9 transformations of the true dragon could actually allow transformations? Lu Qing was rather surprised as well. The 9 transformations of the true dragon was indeed a cultivation technique handed down by an elder in the secret realm. The subtlety and mystery of it exceeded his expectations. After Little Li succeeded in cultivating the first transformation, he completely mastered an art of transformation. He could change himself into any appearance as he wished. This transformation was fundamental, so even primordial spirit great powers couldn't discern the truth from falsehood. It was because of this that he felt confident bringing Little Li out. It's only that dumb snake that hasn't fully grasped the first transformation yet, Little Li said with dissatisfaction. Its aptitude in the 5 elements isn't as good as yours. It's normal for its cultivation to be slower, Lu Qing laughed. Over the years, the 5 elements had been cultivating the 9 transformations of the true dragon alongside Little Li, but it was much slower in mastering it compared to Little Li. It was barely at the beginner stage of the first transformation and was still unable to fully master it. Thus it couldn't transform yet. So Lu Qing had to let it continue cultivating in the Chenquan bag. Hopefully that dumb snake can master it soon, or it'll miss opportunities and start whining when that happens. Listening to Little Li's complaint, Lu Qing smiled and then walked toward an inn. Soon, he rented a small golden core cave mansion and moved in. Sitting cross-legged in the cave, Lu Qing began to ponder his next course of action. Honestly, back then at the Tianshu Divine Mountain, he had thought it might cause a stir but never imagined it would make such waves. The day he slew several primordial spirit realm cultivators and left Tianshu Divine Mountain, he found a secluded cave, set up an array, and went into a long seclusion. He was completely unaware of the events happening outside. This seclusion lasted for over 10 years. It wasn't until he emerged that he realized not only had the Holy Alliance issued a bounty on him, but many sect forces and noble families had also placed a high price on his head in the Netherworld Palace. Fortunately, when exiting seclusion, he had already adopted a new identity, or he might have faced assassination attempts upon entering the First City. But the good news is that it has been over a decade since the battle at Tianshu Divine Mountain. Now, few mention the events of that battle, and it has gradually been forgotten. Coupled with the perfect Golden Core's transformation technique. As long as Lu Qing doesn't slip up, no one should be able to tell he's Qin Qing. In fact, that's exactly how it is. After exiting seclusion, Lu Qing traveled the world with little Li. Now, a year later, he had visited numerous cities to rest, and without exception, no one could recognize their true identities. The reason Lu Qing came out of seclusion was rather simple. His cultivation had reached a bottleneck. Currently, his path of the Dao cultivation had reached the 9th transformation's perfected state of the Golden Core realm, and his cultivation in the path of the Witch had reached the great achievement realm of the Golden Witch. Other various Taoist skills, divine skills, and so forth were also cultivated to their current limit. Originally, he wanted to continue cultivating, but the biggest problem was that he still hadn't successfully deduced the 10th transformation of the perfect Golden Core skill. When he first went into seclusion, Lu Qing thought that with the 10 primordial spirit realm cultivation techniques he had acquired, combined with other skills like the sky-breaking sword chi and the 7-star sword array he mastered, he could deduce the 10th transformation of the perfect Golden Core skill. However, when he actually started deducing, he realized it was far more difficult than he imagined. Because those primordial spirit realm techniques, although intricately mysterious, were far superior to Golden Core level techniques. But they described a higher level of power. Regarding breaking the limits and surpassing the conventional 9th transformation, there was still very little mention. This limited the inspiration Lu Qing could gain from them, making it so that he spent a long time but still had no clue on the framework of the 10th transformation of the Golden Core. Realizing this, Lu Qing came to a clear understanding. The 10th transformation of the Golden Core is a realm that breaks the limits and goes beyond the ordinary. None of the great powers who created those primordial spirit realm techniques ever reached that realm, or perhaps they didn't even know about the 10th transformation of the Golden Core realm. Since that's the case, how could there be any mention of it in their cultivation techniques? Even if it was occasionally mentioned, it was merely conjecture and couldn't be used as empirical evidence. Therefore, his hope to discern the 10th transformation of the perfect Golden Core skill from it was almost impossible. His only path was to rely on his wisdom and the mysteriousness of his superpower, putting aside the influence of common cultivation techniques. To find that sliver of possibility in the impossible, and only then would he have a chance to create that transcendent 10th transformation cultivation technique. After coming to this understanding, Lu Qing decided to come out of seclusion. In this year, he and Little Li traveled the world, witnessing various wonders, comprehending the changing energies of heaven and earth, and combining these with the enigmatic chapters of the Taoist text in his mind. Gradually, he began to form a slight understanding of the 10th transformation of the perfect Golden Core skill. However, this bit of inspiration was not yet clear and required further pondering and comprehension, before eventually seizing it at the right moment. After contemplating for a while, Lu Qing focused his thoughts on the matters at hand. This time he came to Earth Fire City because a few days ago, he saved several Foundation Establishment realm cultivators who had frozen to death in a snowstorm filled with celestial gale wind. Through these cultivators, he learned that Earth Fire City would witness the manifestation of Divine Mysterious Snow Valley from the void in about half a month. The Divine Mysterious Snow Valley appears every 50 years, and each time it appears, it spews forth a large number of exotic treasures with cold ice attributes, known as one of the most renowned opportunities in the heavenly cold continent. Upon hearing about such an intriguing matter, Lu Qing naturally wanted to witness it for himself. Though cold ice attribute treasures were not highly useful to him, they were extremely suitable for Little Yen. If he could collect some, he could take them back to his home world as gifts for the little girl. Thinking of Little Yen, Lu Qing sighed again. It had been over 20 years since he left his home world, and he had no idea how little Yen was doing now. He certainly wasn't worried about his master. His concern was that, at the time of his departure, little Yan's temperament was not yet mature enough. As time had passed, he feared that girl's personality might have changed, leading her to resent him. At most 10 years. If within 10 years I can't create the 10th transformation, I'll directly achieve the primordial spirit and return to my home world. Lu Qing gradually set a deadline for himself. Indeed, now he had reached the perfected realm of the 9th transformation golden core, and the core he condensed was a perfect golden core. If he wished, he could summon the heavenly tribulation at any time to transcend it and achieve the primordial spirit. With his foundation, once he achieved the primordial spirit, both his potential and strength would be far superior to those of cultivators who achieved the primordial spirit with a lesser golden core. However, knowing there's a realm beyond the 9th transformation, how could Lu Qing possibly not attempt to break through it casually? After all, he possessed a superpower and chapters of the Taoist text. It's not an entirely unreachable realm. Yet, stubbornly fixating on such a pursuit can be detrimental, leading to mental obstructions and forming heart demons. Thus, Lu Qing set a limit for himself. If within 10 years he could not deduce the 10th transformation, he'd directly break through, stepping into the primordial spirit realm. Calming his restless emotions, Lu Qing closed his eyes, activated his superpower, and continued to interpret and comprehend the Taoist chapters. In a trance, half a month quickly passed. As he meditated and comprehended, Lu Qing suddenly felt a peculiar change in the world.